It's in the book.
Oh.
They took it out. I'm looking at the glossary and kill chain
Yeah.
and the minor attacks that are,
Yeah.
we saw that, but it's in the glossary, but diamond model's not.
Yeah, hey, remember question 279 is diamond model intrusive analysis. I was like, okay. Yeah, that's the answer. They say the kill chain, the modern CVE. But that's those two.
Movie last night, but I'm about to call my ex.
What? What's up?
I wasn't, I've been sleep, I've been not going to sleep. I've been on the bed around like 4
Me
in the
too,
morning.
man. Same. I putting it in too. Everybody at the house they be going to bed. I'm like,
They call it, hey man, what you doing? Like,
military. I get up at 4:58 every morning. Like, my body wakes me up.
5, maybe 6.
Well, that's how we did it.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Going to break sleep at 4, waking up at 6:30.
Really?
Yeah, that ain't doing it. I've been drinking Red Bulls and coffee and stuff.
Don't do that, bro. That make your heart rate go up.
Yeah.
That tarnine with the tarnine, that yellow. Yeah, that's it. Cause a heart attack.
I usually don't, man.
Oh, cool tone. Okay, good. All right. Give me a second. I'm still logging into Wi-Fi.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Okay. Did you come? Yeah, I'm in now.
Oh, my God. Forwarding. The guy left. He left, but he's still able to log in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point of the question.
Yeah.
I think you can click on them, right? And
Yeah.
You can see it, close it up.
Yeah.
This is when I was first learning how to use this software.
Mm.
Yeah, last night was my best night.
I understand. Yesterday I was for the same.
I burned out last night.
For the same way, man.
These ain't homework though, so these are just, today is more like, kind of like you said yesterday, you randomized 90 questions.
Mm-hmm.
This is what this is. These are questions you guys have never seen before.
Mm.
So it's really just testing your knowledge and you learn. But what's going on here is you talked about this one yesterday. You
Yeah.
said be authenticate.
Mhm.
Kicking them off the wireless.
Mhm.
Keep kicking them off the wireless.
Mhm.
That's what the evil twin attack does.
I said that. Like, didn't say twin. I said two, and I saw three. And I said, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I wonder
Compromised account credentials. So that's definitely passwords here, right? Using the vent here, to detect the following special privileges assigned to new login. Did not have valid logins associated with the user before these privileges were assigned. Process of elimination. Buffer overflow has to do with memory, databases, right? Nothing to do with accounts being compromised. Cross-site scripting attack that's web-based. Talked about that yesterday.
Mhm.
Session replay means I'm doing a man in the middle, means I compromise something and I'm using it later. The only thing that deals anything to do with passwords is that.
Okay. Hmm.
So it says directory traversal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we talked about yesterday, literally.
Yeah.
If we don't do our homework, we should start getting some of these questions. Yeah, dot slash is directory traversal, not B.
I saw redirect and I was sorry. I was ready to hold it.
Long question. Just gotta get to the root of the question. Growing workforce that is mostly driven by additions to sales department. So we got people getting hired, most of them in sales. Each newly hired salesperson relies on a mobile phone. CIO, its monitoring authorization may need to scale down just as quickly as it's scaled up. The CIO is also concerned about the organization's security. The phone would best address CIO's concern. It says here, you guys said deploy mobile devices using corporate-owned, personally enabled technology. Alright. Which is good, but it says which of the following would be
Keywords and
best
magic words.
to address his concerns. Well, what's his concerns? Concerns are we're adding salespeople, they rely on mobile devices, and he's concerned of the security and customer privacy. So we could implement bring your own device, that's fine, right? But remember I said that
Bring your own disaster.
if we do that,
Right.
I mean, it's fine, you can bring your phone, but if I enroll you in MDM, that means I have the ability to wipe your phone,
True.
right? So most people didn't want to because they just didn't want us to wipe their phone,
Right.
right? But yes, here it just says corporate owned, personally enabled, that means we own the mobile phone, you can do what you want with them.
Messed up there, yeah.
You can put personal information in your videos and stuff, and here it doesn't even say that there's any control,
That's right.
because what's the primary concern? Security.
Scale down. Security.
That's what MDM is.
Right. Device management. Got you. Okay.
So
So
see what's
sort of
So
a
C
trick-
was the right
sort of a
answer.
trick
It was a
question.
trick. Because he
If
talked
you
about
see
bringing the
BYOD, but if you
data.
don't finish reading the rest of it,
Yeah,
BYOD with MDM, that is the best.
That's the best. Yeah. That's a catchword. That's what I'm thinking about.
Good job. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
I got the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. Okay. It's the wrong button. I got that right. All right.
data custodian, Mr. Data custodian's job is to basically do maintenance, day-to-day tasks. So the day-to-day task he's doing here is applying encryption on the hard drive. Right. So a technical role as a data custodian. I used the word data steward yesterday. When I think about steward, I think about the stewardess in an airplane. Her day-to-day task, or his day-to-day task, is to serve snacks. Data custodian's day-to-day task is just to maintain and do things with that data. Back it up, take it off-site, test it, encrypt it, make sure it's safe. The controller is the person who controls how the data is processed. So the controller is not going to do technical things. Right? Controller just makes sure that the appropriate data is controlled. I mean, that's another word to say use for control, but it's not the right answer. Network engineer troubleshooting wireless network issues that were reported by users. So here he's just saying, hey, troubleshooting wireless. Issues are occurring only in sections of the building where closest to the parking lot. So something's going on where people in the parking lot are not able to get on the internet. Right? They're experiencing slow speeds. Issues appear to increase when the laptop users return to the desk after the devices and areas of the building. There have been reports of users being required to enter their credentials on web pages in order to gain access. So something's happening in the parking lot, things are slowing down, and we have things where people are being required to enter the password. What most likely is happening.
Evil twin.
Yeah, so here, external access point is engaging. Here it says an external access point. That means somebody has brought a different access point to the building. Right? And now you're trying to connect to theirs, but when you connect to theirs, it's asking you for a username and password. Right? And the only reason they're connecting to theirs is because it's the same name.
SSID.
Certificates have expired. No. Certificates are going to give us an error that we looked at when we went to AFMail portal. When we went to AFMail.portal, I get this non-secure thing. Right? Of course, I've trusted it manually, so I've gotten here, but the page would actually look different actually when we do this. So you can see, we should be able to. I don't know. Actually, it's probably not going to show up here either, because I've already trusted it. Yeah, I've already trusted it. AF.
You have to hit remember the advance button to go down to the bottom and proceed.
Yeah, it ain't even connecting in my brain right now.
Yeah, it's a typical default page of the security. That's a certificate of security. Yeah, it looks like a white page.
I've already trusted it. I actually got to clear that so that I can use that example in class, because now it's not going to work. That's going to take me straight back. Anyways, the error we got yesterday where it says a page not trusted, that's what you get certificates.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying that they're going to the website and the website saying this website's not trusted. It says there are slow speeds accessing the website.
Yeah. Once you see it, you won't forget.
True.
Okay. Ooh. Wow. Yeah.
studying the book.
Yeah.
Or
I love that. Great versions.
interesting. They took the rating out of the book. That doesn't
Oh.
make sense. How you gonna take the rate out?
Huh.
It's not in 701 any longer.
Huh.
So I'm not gonna waste time on that one.
Okay.
But yeah, the answer is grade 0 is fast. Grade 1 performs redundancy, which is called a mirror.
Huh.
And grade 5 and 10 have what's called striping.
Huh.
So they allow for a little bit more redundancy than the 0 and 1.
Hmm.
But the question here is which one's the fastest, right? That's grade 0. No redundancy on a grade 0, but it's extremely fast.
Fascinating.
Analysts need to generate a certificate to secure connections. Analysts ensure what is required to perform the task. So he is not sure how to generate a certificate. So he asks somebody who might know. Which following is the first step. So I basically said this in class. The first step, and I think it's already been erased, but it was written over here, was to create a CSR. That's that certificate signing request. That's filling out the paperwork. It's like you go to DMV, the first step is they give you paperwork when you're 16.
Oh, you did say that.
Certificate signing request, the same thing.
Send it to CA. God, that's right.
Yeah. We talked about this too. It's not ever going to be underlined on the exam, I'll tell you that. You're never going to see things bold and underlined, but that's the key here. Analyst is looking for a security solution to help communicate to the leadership team the severity levels, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of the vulnerabilities, which are following would best meet this need for what? To see the levels of the vulnerabilities. So common vulnerability scoring system, that's what CBSS is. That gives us the 0 through 10, the levels. CVE shows us a list of all the threats. I went to that website and I typed in Microsoft and we saw like 7,000 vulnerabilities. That's what common vulnerability enumeration is. And a SOAR tool stands for Security Orchestration Automation Response. This tool allows for us to automate, right, how we respond to events and alerts. When we're talking about levels, right, ranking the severity of the vulnerability, not how to respond, resolve issues, automate. Security incident.
I'm not here today.
Sorry. Security incident may have occurred on a PC of the CEO. All right, so somebody went on the CEO's PC and did something. A duplicate copy of the CEO's hard drive must be stored securely to ensure appropriate forensic processes and chain of custody are followed. So somebody's going there to see if somebody's compromised the CEO's machine, but before they check on it, they have to make a copy of it and put the original hardware somewhere, right? And then make sure we fill out the little document, chain of custody. Which of the following should be performed to accomplish this task? What task? Of duplicating his hard drive, then ensuring that we have a chain of custody. So B here is if we do duplicate it, remember we have to do what's called a bit-by-bit copy.
That's what I thought.
So connect a write block at the hard drive, then using a forensic workstation, utilize that DD command, right? Because we know that DD is disk duplicate and create a copy. This is the only way you can create a copy without disrupting the integrity of the hard drive. Bit by bit copy, or using a forensic toolkit, right? Something where it's not going to disrupt the hash.
I removed myself about it. I was thinking if we make it, like remove it, it won't make a data footprint, like it won't mess up the integrity of it.
I didn't read your answer. It's all good. Oh wow, good job, both y'all. Yeah. So yeah, it just took too long, right? So I was saying what best could have improved the response. So pretty good. I say bravo on that. Well, what do we see here?
Multiple computers, many tenants.
Multiple different usernames.
Mhm.
That's what password spraying is. Multiple usernames. See Joe Smith, Jane Doe, user 1, 2, 3. Going through all the users. Password
Mhm.
spraying. All right, third place.
That's not
All right, Ricky, come on.
that did horrible, man.
It's all right.
All right.
Good job, man.
We gonna do it, brother.
No,
We're
it's
gonna
not-
do
it's
it.
not
This is
connected.
practice, brother.
Yeah, I'm not here today. I'm not connected.
We're gonna be all right. We're
Had
gonna be
a
all right.
horrible night.
I understand. Hey, don't beat you up. Don't beat yourself up.
I should have even did it. And then this morning, I was like, let me go and review. And I just laid on the couch. I couldn't get up. And I just kept looking at my phone, and I was like, I can't even get up. And
It's
I
all
just-
right.
It's all good.
It's all good, bro. You'll be all right.
All right, so 15 and 16 today, we talk about risk management process concepts. Page 439 in the book. Here it says lesson objectives. This lesson, we're going to learn the following. We're going to explain what risk management process and concepts. Explain something called a BIA, business impact analysis. Understand various risk responses. We kind of talked about we talked about how we can strengthen the risk, how we mitigate the risk. We talked about accepting the risk. And we talked about avoiding the risk, saying, I'm just not going to bring it in the network. And again, we cannot ignore the risk. I can't just say, I don't care about it. Learn about vendor assessments and management practices. So vendor assessments, that's when a third party comes in and perform that kind of audit. Explore internal, external assessment concepts. So we can have people from the inside audit us. Certain things in the organization. I can't just come in and attack your network without talking to somebody and saying which machine's going to attack, what time of day can I attack, what's off limits. That's ROE, rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement. Okay.
All right, turn to the page here. Risk identification and assessment. Risk identification is fundamental to managing cybersecurity risks. Includes recognizing risks such as malware, phishing, insider threats, equipment failure, software, non-technical risk, policies and training. Again, a risk is what a likelihood, anything as far as a threat can compromise my vulnerabilities. So I gotta go in, I gotta identify these risks, and again, I gotta prioritize which ones are gonna be more severe than the others. And our job is to mitigate. I think we can't get it down to zero, but we can mitigate it. A risk assessment is something we can use to help us identify these risks, right? A program that evaluates previously identified risks, determine their potential impact on the organization. Assessment methodology includes ad hoc. Remember, ad hoc is the ability for me to connect and transfer files from one device to another device without the use of an access point. Recurring, one-time, or continuous ad hoc risk assessments. Oh, sorry, they're talking about ad hoc risk assessment here, not ad hoc Wi-Fi. So, ad hoc Wi-Fi is a different term, which I just explained. Here they talk about ad hoc risk assessments. Are conducted as needed, often in response to specific incidents, such as news of a new actively exploited zero-day environmental system. So ad hoc risk assessments are things that are going to be done on a specific use case scenario. Right? Reoccurring risk assessments are scheduled at regular intervals. We had one that was scheduled quarterly. Like I told you guys, if not, I'll tell you now. Every 3 months we had KPMG. They came to the insurance agency. They set up shop, and they assessed our risk. Right? They were the auditors. So we had quarterly. You have yearly, monthly audits. Continuous risk assessments constantly evaluate risk and are supported by specialized tools to produce real-time data, such as agents that we might install on the systems. We talked about agents and agentless assessment tools that we can use to essentially scan the system and get a score. Risk analysis versus risk assessment on page 441. Risk analysis describes the process of identifying and evaluating potential risks. So I'm analyzing the risk after I've assessed, where I basically scan your entire environment. Now I'm going to look at the ones that came back that said that they were a risk, and now I got to analyze. I got to do some more research, figure out, all right, why is this a risk? How can I fix it? How can I make sure that this isn't a risk in the future? And we can do that with two things. Verbally talked about it, and here it is in the book finally. Quantitative and qualitative risk assessment. Right. So I verbally talked about this, and now it's popping up in the book. So we're going to talk about which one first. We'll erase this. Quantitative, right, versus qualitative. So quantitative assessments are going to be done if we have to assess a cost monetary. They're going to be done from somebody who has done it before. So, experience. Personnel. And 3 takes time. So if we don't have a lot of time, we're not going to be doing quantitative assessments. There's a formula for quantitative assessment, which is ALE equals SLE times ARO. And our SLE is equal to something called AV, asset value, something called EF, that's called exposure factor. So we can use this formula to assess what's called annual loss expectancy. Over the course of the entire year, how much money do I expect to lose? Because this is our focus. So I need to be given the asset value first.
Yes.
So the asset value, we're going to say the laptop, for example. That laptop is worth $2,000. Not a math exam.
No.
So please don't focus on the math.
Oh,
Focus
no.
on the formula.
Right.
Because you could be asked a question, how do
Just algebra.
you find the ALE? Choose 2. Right? And you would choose SLA to ARO. Or it could be, how do you find the SLE? Choose 2. You choose AV and GF. So I'm just putting numbers in so you can see the concept, but it's not a math. So I'm given the asset value, right, which is the laptop is $2,000, so I can plug in my $2,000 here. Exposure factor is how much damage. Exposure factor is a percentage, right? So when you look at EF, it's always equal to a percentage, right? So if I'm not given a percentage, then all I'm left with is the asset value. ARO is annual rate of occurrence. How many times a year is this laptop or the laptop's environment damaged? So I could say one laptop goes missing per month. So if one laptop goes missing per month, what's the annual rate of occurrence? 12. I think you said 12. I think you said 12.
I said
right?
12, but I said percent.
No.
I thought
12.
it was
We're
on
going to talk about ARO. So the ARO here would be 12. So here we have SLE times ARO, where ALEB.
Annual loss expectancy, how much you lose in 1 year. So
Not a math. This is simple math, but
All
my
right.
son can figure this out.
12,000.
If we're given this and we're given this, how do I get my Aunt Lee? What is it? Oh my gosh, guys. Did you get no rest last night?
I ain't gonna lie.
So we got XLE, which is 2,000. Just plug the numbers in. Times the ARO, which is 12, equals 24,000.
That's all the times the hour. Okay, so that's all the times the hour. That's all the times the hour.
All right. Qualitative assessments are going to be done based on, so here we're talking about monetary assessment. We don't have a price. So typically things that can't be quantified, we're using the qualitative. So things like data and reputation. Right? I'll use a qualitative assessment. I can't put a dollar amount on that. Okay. 2, qualitative assessments. It says experienced personnel over here, non-experienced. And 3, here it says takes time to quick assessment. Right. So with qualitative assessments, we have a different formula. Which is going to be impact times likelihood equals our risk score. Impact times likelihood equals our risk score. We get this score from values, right? Score from values of 1 through 10, or 1 through this. Score can be a rank 1 through 10 and a score 1 through 100. Right, 1 through 10, score 1 through 100. You've been to Chick-fil-A, you go through the drive-thru, you get a free chicken sandwich, it says fill out survey.
Yeah.
And the survey is basically its ranking system, 10 being you're happy or 1 being you're unsatisfied.
Yep.
Right. Same thing here, right? Score, we can have a score of 1 through 100, right? 100 meaning that I got a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of risk that I have to figure out to get the score. Remember, we can't get the score or the race down to 0, but we can mitigate it. We can get it to an acceptable level. So for example, do another example over here. We're doing impact on likelihood equals risk score. So my example over here is going to be a library PC. What's the impact with a ranking of 1 through 10 that somebody, if they did hack a library PC, and you say nobody goes to the library anymore, but could we still go to the library if a PC was down? Absolutely. Yeah, PC was down. Yeah, that's all we do there is read books, right? Libraries aren't run by internet, and one of the few places where you do the internet. So the impact, if we had a 1 to 10, what do you think the impact would be?
That'd be probably a 5.
We're gonna do 1.
A 1? Low?
It would
Okay.
be, I'm still gonna be able to walk in the library and read a book, independent of the PC being down.
Gotcha.
All right, and the likelihood, how many people out there trying to hack library PCs? We'll give that a 1 too. All right, so 1 times 1 is 1, which means this is a low risk. All right. So just get context. What about database though?
Oh.
if somebody came into your workplace right now and hacked your database, how much impact would that be to you?
That'd be a 10. That'd be high.
And what's the likelihood that people out there actually trying to hack databases? Okay.
10 too.
So we're going to do 10 times 10. This is where we get a score of 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a score of 100 is
Really
high.
high. Yeah.
So how do we lower it? Well, that's what we've been talking about all week. We put things in there to a safeguard.
Yeah. Controls, different controls.
There's different controls.
Yeah. Okay. Outstanding. Okay. Access controls.
All right, so that's what they're talking about in the book. I wrote it all on the board. It's on 441, 442. All right. Make sure we do know those formulas, even though the book doesn't look like it goes that deep into qualitative analysis. I don't see the impact times likelihood formula there. But the points, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, the points are what they're talking about, those paragraphs. All right. It says here, one of the benefits of qualitative risk analysis is it's simple and easy to use. I can tell somebody at the front desk who's never done IT before, could you go assess my server room? And come back with a score or a rank 1 through 10. 10 being you walked in there and it was unsecure, or 1 you walked in there and it was secure, right? Sometimes they use a different ranking system called high, medium, low. High risk, medium risk, low risk. So they could also use that as a way to assess my security. But it's quick, it's efficient, and I don't need somebody with expertise to do it. Like I said, after we lower the score, there's something called a residual risk. Residual risk is risk that's left over. But if we don't do anything, I come into an organization, we don't do anything, then we have something called inherent risk. Inherent risk is a risk that exists before we put any controls in place. You would inherently have a risk if you open up your Ring camera and you set it up. You don't do anything. You inherently have a risk if you buy a laptop and you don't put any virus on it. The risk you have if you don't do anything. Heat map. So you can see the picture of the heat map. And what the purpose of this is, obvious, is at a quick glance visual, we can actually see where our high risks are. We can see where our low risks are. We can see where our medium risks are. So if we're in a meeting and I'm assigning you guys things that you guys need to do for your job, I pull up a heat map. It's a lot quicker and easier and visual for you guys to see, all right, we have a lot of issues here, and we've got a lot of red over here, and we definitely got to focus on all this red. So it says here, heat map, simple approach for risk. Red, yellow, green indicators can be put in columns representing severity and likelihood. This approach is simplistic, but does not give an immediate impression that efforts should be concentrated to improve security. So they've mentioned here at the bottom, low, minor, moderate, significant, and high major damage. So how would we read this? Risk, factors, and impact. Legacy Windows clients. So yellow is saying that's a medium, right? Risk factors, untrained staff. Impact, green. Green would say untrained staff is not a big risk. Low, minor damage, loss of assets. Annual rate of occurrence, legacy Windows clients, it looks like that's red. High impact, major damage, inability to perform one or more essential functions. Windows legacy clients, overall risk, high. No antivirus, overall risk, high. Untrained staff, overall risk, medium. Talked about this right before we started. So just be able to identify the 4 ways. They finally changed it back. In 601, they added a fifth one, and I was like, this is stupid. So 501 they had 4, 601 they had 5, and now 701 they went back to 4. I've been around for a minute now, but yeah, don't we have to worry about the fifth they added, but we again avoiding the risk says I just choose not to implement PCI DSS, right? Which is payment card industry. We're not taking credit card payments on the phone because we can't do it.
Okay.
So let's just not do it to avoid that risk. Accepting the risk. That mouse is $3. It's not worth me putting controls on a mouse that's only $3. So if somebody wants to walk out the building with a keyboard and mouse, go for it. I'm aware of it. I accept that risk. I just don't want to do anything about it. Mitigate. Mitigating is that score is 100. We're going to lower that to a acceptable level, so the auditors will let us pass. And transferring means we get insurance, something to that effect. Again, one thing we can't do is ignore the risk. I mentioned already, and it's in the book again, what residual risk is. Residual risk is going to be there after we put controls in place. And there it is in the book. Finally, risk appetite. Everyone has a different risk appetite, right? If your risk appetite's high or low, it depends on your industry, right? Like I said, risk appetite dictates how much risk is your company willing to accept. So high appetite means you're willing to accept a lot of risk, and low appetite means you're not willing to accept a lot of risk. High appetite could be high appetite could be ATG. We don't have a low risk appetite because you can come in here, computer unlocked, you can access the building. We're military based, they have a low risk appetite. You can't do some of the things that you can do in a public setting. Risk management, bottom of 445, right? We reverse this word. Risk management means to manage the risk. How do we manage the risk? Well, this is everything we've been talking about all week. Right? Our job is to put controls into place, administrative, technical, technical/logical, physical control types, or layered defense. We use cryptology, right? We do this CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. All that stuff is ways to manage the risk, right? We got to identify first, then we have to prioritize, and then we put controls in place to address the issues. But mission essential functions are going to be ones that we want to address for sure first, the ones that can basically cause our business to stop functioning. Internet's mission essential everywhere. That's just an example. Identify vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are what weaknesses, default configurations. Identify threats. We talked about threats this week. Threats could be insiders, worst threat, disgruntled employees. Threats could be outside. Right? Threats could be hacktivists. They hack for political causes. Threats could be script kiddies. Right? Newbies.
Hackers.
That could be our APTs, advanced persistent threats. Analyze business impacts. So impact is how much damage it's going to do overall to the entire corporation. Is it impacting just one person? Is it impacting the floor? Or is it impacting the entire business? And they talk about here to analyze impacts, you do a quantitative and qualitative assessment. If it's money, then we address that server is worth $1 million, and that $1 million server goes down, that's going to do a lot of impact to our business, obviously, based on the value of that server and what it contains. Identify risk response. How do we respond to it? We talked about yesterday the Cyber Incident Response Team, CIRT, help desk. We talked about, I told you the difference between Tier 1 tech and a Tier 2 tech, like the logs. And we looked a lot at logs yesterday. And we talked about the incident response plan yesterday. Preparation phases first. Then we go to detect, analyze. Then we go to contain, eradicate, recover, and lessons learned. For each business process and each threat, you must assess the degree and risk exists. Calculating risk is complex. So there's that likelihood and impact formula. It's in the book, right? It's on this page. And they have a scale system here from 1 to 5. 1 to 10, 1 to 5, but they talk about high, medium, low, medium, high, right? Same thing I have up here. So numbering doesn't make a difference. Like I said, mathematically, we're not here to figure out a number. We're not here to figure out a number. We're here to know how you use qualitative, which are going to be based on a ranking system. How do you use qualitative, which is based on a how much does it cost? So we take this impact times likelihood equals the risk score. All right, risk registers. They don't have a picture of risk register, but they have a picture of the other thing. A risk register is a picture. I'm going to pull one up. I'm just going to Google it real quick. It looks just like our heat map. See? It looks just like our heat map. And we can look at it and we can see, all right, all of these over here on the right-hand side are the high risk, and we got to address these first before we move to the medium. Then we don't really have to be concerned too much about the low stuff. But again, at a quick glance, we use risk registers to easily see where the most severe risks reside in the organization. And then same thing, I'm gonna assign somebody in the workplace the job, the task of resolving some of these risks. Here it even says often utilize heat maps. So risk register is the same thing as a heat map. So that's why it's weird they don't have a picture of risk register, but they have a picture of heat map. Thresholds. Remember we talked about this yesterday. Goldilocks and 3 bears. That's what a threshold is. It's the hardest thing to set up. Right? When am I going to be defining that that's a risk? Once it reaches 95%, that's too high. Right? When it reaches 25%, that's too low. So we gotta set that threshold up, and like it says here, it's based on your organization. You have to assess what is normal. KRIs, key risk indicators. Critical predictive indicators, because we want to be proactive. They're used to monitor and predict potential risk. These metrics, KRIs, are essentially a way in which I can keep track of incidents. So let's say that, I don't know if you guys got KRIs, but you might have VAs coming in, and you might keep track of incidents that keep occurring. Right?
Yes,
this guy asked me a question, I wasn't able to resolve it, and then the next day, same thing, and now we have 20 of the same questions, and it's getting higher and higher. We have to figure something out to do because this keeps reoccurring. Right?
Yep.
Or we have KRIs, maybe the door lock. Right? Somebody's breaking into that room, and we had 20 break-ins last month, and now we got 30 break-ins the next month, and now we got 40 break-ins. So these metrics are obviously telling us that we've got to increase the security of that door. Metrics provide an early indication of increasing risk. What it says in the book. KRIs assess the potential impact, likelihood of various risks, so leadership teams can take proactive steps to stop those break-ins. Okay. Risk owner. Third paragraph there, 447, refers to an individual responsible for managing a particular risk. And risk appetite we talked about. Right? Risk tolerance. It's the same thing as a risk appetite. Risk tolerance describes a specific amount of variance an organization is willing to accept regarding measured risk. Alright. So they have some levels of risk appetites on the next page. Alright. Expansionary level, right? An organization with an expansionary risk appetite is willing to take a higher level of risk. So I was talking about high, medium, low, right? That would be us, right? High level of risk in the pursuit of high returns or aggressive growth. These organizations typically operate in rapidly evolving markets and industries and must take risks to remain competitive. Expansionary risk appetites are associated with organizations launching new products, entering new markets, and making major corporate acquisitions. Conservative risk appetite prioritizes risk avoidance. So we're going to look at that, and we're going to think about it, and if we think that that's going to be something that would cause harm to the organization, we're just not going to do that. Conservative risk appetite prioritizes risk avoidance. These type of organizations take a cautious approach, right? Preserving cash, maintaining good reputation, ensuring regulatory compliance. So we're that too. We're expansionary and we're conservative. Right? We're going to bid on contracts, but we're not going to bid on just any contract that's out there. We've got to think about, is it worth it? Like flying somebody out there and how much they're paying us, and the margin of profit we're going to make. Neutral. An organization with a neutral risk appetite balances. Okay, so we're neutral. We're neutral because we do both. Like I was just saying, we do both, right? Balance between expansionary and conservative, and as well as take risks if they align with strategic. Yeah, we're definitely neutral. What do you think your organization is? What do you think your organization is?
They're not neutral. I would say, well, I guess it would be neutral. They wouldn't be high unless they kind of willing to take high risk. They don't want to take the risk. They're just with a conservative appetite for the risk avoidance. I would say conservative.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that because I'm wanting you to understand it.
Yeah, I was.
Because you're sitting there writing.
Conservative as well.
I was
Conservative as well.
neutral because
No, you're conservative, bro.
Because they do take
You're conservative.
Government, man, government's way
I'm
conservative.
saying they still do take, like, for people who, like, contractors
Yeah.
and veteran contractors, they
Yeah.
still do take contracts from them who's really not totally secure.
But they make you go. When they make, I was a contract. They made me go through hell just to get well to gov. So
Yeah, you're conservative.
they will do everything. Background.
You work for government, so
Yeah,
that's
man.
conservative.
I don't know about governments.
Like, we even outsource the shredding.
Mhm.
The shredding of the paper.
Yeah, contract.
That still could
That's
be.
conservative.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You don't want to take that risk. You're
Exactly.
putting that on
You
somebody
put it on a
else.
contractor.
It's conservative.
Yeah.
Risk reporting describes the methods used to communicate an organization's risk profile. So now I got to report my risk to somebody. That's what risk reporting is.
Okay.
Effective risk reporting supports decision making, highlights concerns, and ensures stakeholders, everyone who has interest in the organization, understands the organization's risk.
Gotcha.
I haven't got like a risk report from Apple. It's probably out there somewhere. I'm a stakeholder at Apple products,
Me too.
right? But I'm sure that there's a place where you can go and read about all the risks that were identified at Amazon or Tesla or Apple, whatever these vendors that you might have interest in deemed as a risk.
Mm-hmm.
The risk reports must also clearly convey recommended risk response, such as accepting, mitigating, transferring, or avoiding the risk. BIA, Business Impact Analysis, at the bottom of 448. So I asked the class this when we think about business impact analysis. Every organization has something that would impact their business and essentially shut it down. Right? Something that would impact it more than something else that would impact it. Like higher impact is what I'm trying to say. So Netflix, right? What do you think would be included in Netflix's business impact analysis? And there's lots of them, huh?
Like, internet shut down.
Okay, well you got her off the dime, man. Sheesh. Usually people are like all over the place. They're like movies, prices changing,
Yeah.
database backup. I'm waiting for that one primary answer. Internet.
Yeah.
Internet affects everything,
Yeah.
right? So that would probably be something that they would put as critical systems, right? Identifying in their organization as critical. And since I identify that as mission essential, Netflix, last I read, 25 or 29 redundant data centers spread out geographically around the world. So if one of them went down, we don't know. Internet's still going to be up. Netflix is still going to be up because they got 20 other data centers ready for fault targets to continue to operate their organization. But again, it's specific to your organization. What you would identify would impact your business the most, and based on that, you need to put controls in place, right, to make sure it doesn't happen.
So like ATG, our thing is, when I got here, I realized that, of course, we need you guys, clients, right, to make money. And the majority of the ways that we communicate with you is either phone or email.
Right.
Now, military, it's always going to be email. Military,
Always.
they don't want to pick the phone up.
Right.
And then I was saying that one day, and thunderstorms would strike in this building, since our exchange server was on site, power would go out and our email would go down. You guys remember me telling you guys the story?
Mm-hmm.
And he would just say that that's normal, right? I'm like, nah, it's not normal, right? And as the email's down, if people trying to email us, they're getting bounce backs. It looks like our company's not up. It looks like our company doesn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Until our server powers back on. One day it happened where it happened for a whole week.
Wow.
It shut down, we turned it back on, and the exchange server was corrupt. So we had to rebuild it from scratch, so we were down a whole week. And that's when I kind of spearheaded and kickstarted, and I did an assessment of the organization. I have it somewhere. I wrote like 4 or 5 page document on everything in the organization, and I told them this is high. Exchange email is like critical to your organization, right? And I just explained what happened before and explained how we could do something where this would never happen again, right? So moving to the cloud, Office 365, right?
Mm-hmm.
And knock on wood, since we moved to the cloud, has never happened again. Never happened again, right? So we got maximum tolerable downtime, RTO, WRT, and RPO. Acronym city. All right. So with these acronyms, let's discuss MTD first. How long can your organization be down before you're losing too much money? That's what MTD is.
Mm-hmm.
I had a CEO come to me one day. He got out of ransomware. I was working at the corporation.
Okay.
And I told him that you should send people home today.
Wow.
Because they're not going to be able to do any work. All the files are encrypted. It's going to take me too long to even get you up and running like at a crippling level. So I said, unless you want to pay them to sit around and do nothing, send them home. But then he got scared. Then he asked me, well, how long am I going to be down?
Right.
Because if I'm going to be down too long, I might as well close my business today.
Right.
He's going to be bleeding money.
Right.
So I was like, don't worry, sir. Give me a day. Now I'll get us back up to where we can start working slowly, right? We're not going to be up 100%,
Right.
but I'm going to get you up 50%
Okay.
to bring him back tomorrow. The additional time it took me to get him back up and running is what's called the work recovery time. So I was able to get him up to 50%, have people come in and start working, but while people are working, I'm still recovering files and folders if they are not critical to the business, things that they're going to eventually need, but they don't need it right away.
Okay.
That's what work recovery time is.
Okay.
Right? RTO, recovery time objective, is an estimate. So he's asking me an estimate, how long do you think it's going to take to get back up and running? Say by the end of the week, you should be back up. Objective is just that, it's an objective. Does that mean that by the end of the week you're going to be back up? No, it's an estimate. I hope you're up by the end of the week. I don't know. Now what would have avoided this is if he had something called a recovery point objective. Recovery point objective means backups. The guy refused to pay for backups. We told him that it's something you need to protect in meetings. We said, hey, you should purchase this device, but too expensive. He didn't want to pay for it. He didn't think that that was a risk. He didn't think that would happen. So we did have backups, but I created a different way to create backups, which was the free way. I'm not going to get into this in this class, but know that recovery point objective is off when your data up. ATG, we back our data up every 6 hours because we use the cloud. The cloud's going to replicate any data that we have here on our computers and replicate to the cloud every 6 hours.
Every 6. Gotcha.
Not testable, but that's just what we use.
Yeah.
But some people can't wait 6 hours. Some people have to do it in sync. Some people have to have the same data I have here, has to be exact same data in the cloud. We talked about that with remote mirroring. Remote mirroring means you have the exact duplicate data.
Duplicate cloud and prem. Gotcha.
All right, mean time between failure. More acronyms where they disappeared here on my slide, but we're going to look at the book. You can see that on page 451. They have MTTR. I'm just going to add them here because we need to know all of them. MTTR, MTBF. Yeah, just those two are missing. MTTR is mean time to recover. So remember, I said that as an objective to get the site back up and running was by the end of the week. Mean time to repair is how long did it actually take? It actually took over a month, right? And it took so long that we weren't even able to get all the data back.
Fascinating.
All right.
How long it took? How long did it take?
Well, I told the guy, I was a manager at the time, so the help desk technician, his job was to go into folder one by one, thousands of folders and recover the data, and he didn't do it fast enough. So what happened is the data started overriding itself.
Oh no.
MTBF, mean time between failure. So we have this thing called a refresh cycle, where we get new laptops every 3 years.
Yeah.
Even if we don't need it, companies will issue you a new laptop. Mean time before failure is, I know it's going to fail in 3 years, so let me go and give you a new laptop before it fails.
Nice. Now I understand.
Right?
Wow.
You have that with your oil change.
Yeah.
Every 5,000 miles, you're in the shop before it fails.
Right.
So we know that there is a expected lifespan, and we want to replace that device before it fails. That's what mean time before failure is. Let's finish B and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
15B is talking about vendor selection. Again, what is a vendor? A vendor is going to be somebody other than us that we work with to accomplish some type of task or goal. Right. So a lot of companies work with other people in order to allow their business to continue to run, unless you decide to do everything in-house, right? So here they're talking about third-party vendor. Refers to an external person or organization provides goods, services, technology. Apple has third-party vendors because they have goods and services for their cameras and their Gorilla Glass and maybe some of the chips that are inside of the phone. They range from technology, software, cloud services. Third-party vendors bring efficiency, cost-effectiveness, expertise, proper vendor assessment, continuous monitoring, ensure third-party vendors adhere to security standards. Again, we talk about the supply chain. We talk about how these supply chains, these vendors can be compromised. That's what happened to the Huawei phone. Why we can't sell it in the States any longer. GRC, which we usually talk about first day of class. We talk about governance because I did talk about the movie The Purge.
Yes.
And that's what governance is. But governance, risk, and compliance is an acronym that we have to have some type of security policies in place to mitigate risk. And laws dictate what type of security policies that we must have in place. HIPAA dictates that you can't have machines in your organization that are not HIPAA compliant.
Gotcha.
So GRC is just a framework that puts in place securing our business, simply put. Evaluating vendors is vital for business that adhere to regulations, as these regulations often pertain to vendors they collaborate with. Ensuring vendors comply with applicable regulations, laws, and industry standards protects the organization from fines and other legal consequences. Hospitals are moving their data to the cloud.
Congratulations.
And now that I have PHI in the cloud, don't you think that Microsoft or AWS has to be HIPAA compliant?
Got to.
They have to. So they got to evaluate the vendors and make sure they adhere to those regulations, those laws. They have to be HIPAA compliant too. If they're not HIPAA compliant and have my data in the cloud, I'm going to be held responsible for a breach in that data. Not them. I mean, ultimately it's their responsibility because they're storing my data. But ultimately, who's that reputation damage going to be seen by? Not the people storing the data, but the people that are supposed to be securing the data, which is my company.
I have a hypothetical question, like what if like the VA what they have went to the cloud? Let's say Microsoft failed to comply to HIPAA.
Right.
How do you go about?
So they would
removing this from the cloud?
they would be able to sue, and they would be protected. But who are your VAs going to be mad at? They're going to be mad at you. They're not going to be mad at Microsoft. They don't know where you put the data. It's your responsibility.
No, I'm saying like Microsoft as itself.
Yeah, hypothetically speaking, you're saying who?
They don't follow HIPAA. They lose their HIPAA credentials.
Oh, okay.
And then the VA wants to remove all of their information from the cloud because Microsoft is not compliant with HIPAA. How would they be able to remove their information, the PHI, from the cloud?
Sure.
Okay, that's
No,
what I
no,
want.
yeah. I was going to let you finish. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I decide that I don't want it there, it's my data. I can do what I want.
Because I was told like, when it's in the cloud, it's in the cloud forever.
No, absolutely not. Nah, I don't know who told you that.
That's the common thing.
No. I mean, I see where you're going with that. Yes. So if you put nudes out there, it's out there forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's celebrities know that. It's out there, and the internet's forever. Even if you go tell that website to scrub it, it doesn't matter. It's still out in the internet forever. Somebody's gonna find it. So yes, that part's true. But if I want to move my data from your cloud database to somebody else's cloud, I can tell that company, all right, go ahead and remove that data. I'm going to delete it all myself. I can do what's called crypto erasure, which is destroying the encryption key, the private key.
Awesome.
Right? So if I destroy the private key and nobody has a key at that organization, nobody there will have access to my data, even if it still exists.
Keys. Oh, yes.
Conflict of interest.
Oh, here we go.
Alright. Arise when individual organizations has competing interests or obligations that could compromise their ability to act objectively, impartially, or in best interests of another party. I think we know what conflict of interest is, right?
Yes.
This happens sometimes with a thing that some people have to sign called an NCA, non-compete agreement. I mean, I can't go work for another school down the street and do the same thing I do here, and then come here and work. Right?
Yeah.
That's a non-compete agreement. It's a conflict of interest, right? And you get in trouble with that. Right? Lots of things, beyond the scope of this course, but there's things we can't do because we'll get in trouble, right? Because I want to support my company and make money in my company. I can't go somewhere else and do the same thing elsewhere and take business away from my company. It's a conflict of interest. So that's where we go with financial interest in the money, right? A vendor may have a financial interest in recommending specific products or services due to partnerships. So I tell you to go to Honda to get your car fixed, but somebody in Honda that works there says, hey, you can go to my shop down the street and I can fix it for half the cost. It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Personal relationships, competitive relationships, insider information. I mean, they all are examples of conflicts of interest, right? Go example by example, but I think we all know the point of what a conflict of interest is and why it's not good. Vendor assessment methods. So we have due diligence. In the context of vendor assessment and selection refers to a comprehensive systematic process of gathering, analyzing information about potential vendors to assess their sustainability, reliability, and integrity. I like the definition. It's a little wordy, so I'm gonna dumb it down here. Due diligence aims to minimize risk, support informed decisions during the vendor selection process by verifying the accuracy of the vendor claims, identifying red flags, ensuring alignment with the organization's needs. So we have this thing called due diligence and due care.
You talked about that.
I think I talked about it?
Yes.
Okay, with the scissors and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. I did talk about it, yes. Right. So due diligence, again, refreshing your memory, is research, doing the research. And due care is acting on the due diligence. So research says you should not run with scissors in your hand. Due care says, I see you running with scissors in your hand and I act on it. Pen testing. We've talked about pen testing already, but in this chapter we're going to get into this thing called ROE, Rules of Engagement. But pen testing typically happens after a vulnerability assessment. But pen testing is considered active, or sometimes it's considered intrusive. So this is known as active slash intrusive. This is known as passive slash non-intrusive. Pen testing can disrupt network. And we have to have this thing called a ROE, rules of engagement before we form one, which is just simply permission. Vulnerability assessment being passive, non-intrusive, it's not going to have effects on the network. Let's see, I'm trying to think. No, right. System. This is used for gate. Patch. Safeguards. This over here is to test the safeguards. Pen test, we can use things like meta exploit. There's another one called Kali. Do Kali I dot Linux.
Thank you.
Right to audit clause. A right to audit clause is a contractual provision that grants an organization the authority to conduct audits, assessments of vendor operational practices, information systems and security controls. Right to audit clause supports vendor assessment by allowing organizations to validate and verify the vendor's compliance with contractual obligations. By exercising a right to audit, organization can gain transparency into the vendor's operations. Identify these gaps, right, deficiencies in where I'm not up to par with my security. Ensure the vendor maintains the expected security level and compliance. So again, this is contractual, so it's some type of documentation that grants me the ability to conduct an assessment. That's what right to audit clause is.
Right to
It's
audit
actually kind of
clause.
new
New.
document. Grants
Special.
ability to perform assessment. Evidence of internal audits. It is up here.
It's up there. Okay, you got it. Okay.
When forming vendor due diligence, that means the research. I'm coming in to look at third-party vendor and see, make sure that they have some type of security in place. Looking for evidence that the vendor has internal audit practice is crucial. Apple goes to Sony. Sony makes the cameras. And Apple's going to say, all right, let me see if Sony has some type of risk reports that they can give me, or an audit that they did in the quarter. See if they passed. I need evidence, because I'm not going to keep doing business with Sony if you guys can't show me that you're providing secure protocols and policies in your organization. I'm not going to really define that because it's self-explanatory. Independent assessment. So if I don't, I've talked about this. So if I don't go and get evidence from you, then so if you don't send me evidence, then I'm going to go myself and I'm going to walk through and I'm going to do my own independent investigation. That's what independent assessment is. supply chain analysis. Right, we've talked about supply chain and the risk of supply chain. Again, supply chain delivers goods and services for Apple, and any of those supply chains get compromised, and it makes that vulnerability something that could gain access into my good or services, and now that good I'm providing to the public is compromised. I use this simple example of this. Kroger. We all go shop in the Kroger or a grocery store, and I don't know where they get their tomatoes or where they get the milk, but let's just say they get it from one farm, and that one farm has mad cow disease, and now that milk makes it in the supply chain and ends up at all the Krogers or E. coli or whatever. Same concept there. Right? Now we got to go pull that food off the shelf. Vendor monitoring involves continuous overseeing and evaluating vendors to ensure ongoing adherence to security standards. It may include regular performance reviews, periodic, or real-time monitoring. This proactive approach allows organizations to promptly identify and address potential risks. I don't think we really got monitored though. Like I said, we had three, every 3 months. So 4 times a year, the auditors would come to our organization. They would set up shop, ask for all the documents, pen test, right? But when they were gone, they were gone. Nobody was babysitting and watching us, so we weren't really monitored. I'm sure that there's companies out there, and that was an insurance agency, but I'm sure there's companies out there that do have to go through this monitoring. Maybe Apple, since they do outsource a lot of their products, maybe they do have somebody, an Apple employee there, monitoring their environment, just to make sure. Especially when you're thinking about, well, nowadays it's not like it used to be when Steve Jobs was working. And now you got these new phones coming out, and we already know what the new phone's going to be 6 months before it comes out.
Yep, version 15, baby.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I already knew. I knew all the specs of the iPhone 15 way before it came out. Right? And it was pretty clear. It had pictures and everything. But those are things that when Steve Jobs was around, it was tight-lipped. Nobody knew anything. Even the Nintendo is pretty much the new Nintendo Switch. It's pretty tight-lipped right now. Nintendo's really good about keeping that information secret. Memorandum of Understanding, non-binding agreement. So non-binding means it's non-legally. Apple and Best Buy, before they became business partnership, right? Business partnership means that, hey, we have now a business agreement between each other. They thought about it at first. Said, hey, Best Buy said to Apple, wouldn't it be nice if you guys could sell your Apple products in our store? Instead of being at your Apple shop, you could sell some of it in our store. Apple was like, yeah, I would think that would be nice. So what they did is they basically had a conversation and they did a handshake. Hey, I think we could do this in the future. Let's go ahead and kind of handshake and do this memorandum of understanding. It's not legally binding. If I change my mind, I change my mind. Right? But after they decided, then they went a step further, and that's when they did that business partner agreement. Right? When they actually said, hey, these are the stipulations of our partnership. Right? Make sure you have an Apple tech guru there. Make sure our product's always stocked. Make sure that if somebody returns it, no questions asked, things of that nature. And then they had to sign this non-disclosure agreement because now since they have this business partner agreement, they definitely are sharing information between the two, right? Especially top secret information about the new Apple product coming out, or maybe even how to unlock a phone that's been locked. Who knows? So they have a new one here, Memorandum of Agreement.
MOU.
A formal agreement. So here we have a non-binding agreement. Memorandum of Agreement is a formal agreement that defines establish a legally binding relationship. So that's the difference. One's non-legally, and the other one's legally binding. So we'll do this. Legal binding. MOU is not legally binding. And again, NDA is sharing of info strategic partner. Partnership. Spell that. Strategic. And this one is an umbrella. Call it an umbrella agreement. And I think that's the word they use here. Let me see if they still use that. It says overall terms, but sometimes they use umbrella. It's one agreement I can look at, master service agreement, that encompasses all the agreements we just talked about.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. SLA, I never explain SLA because I think everybody that comes to class has experience in SLA. I think we all know what SLAs are. Statement of work. If I'm an MSP, managed service provider, and you give me a project, say to migrate your email from on-prem to cloud, I'm going to create a statement of work and it's going to stipulate exactly what my job it entails. Because a lot of times what happens, especially as an MSP, the company likes to put other work on the table.
Scope.
Well, you said you're going to, yeah, it's a scope. You said you're going to migrate our email. Oh, but it looks like during that migration, this system's having an issue. Since you're here, could you fix that? Well, that's not in our statement of work. Our statement of work just says that we're going to migrate the email to the cloud. We're not going to train your employees on how to use it. We're not going to make sure you're able to access it. We're not going to decommission your on-prem Exchange server. Our job is to take that email and put it in the cloud, and when we're done, that's it. If you want us to do anything else, you're going to have to pay for that service. All right, there's that ROE we just talked about, rules of engagement. I wrote on the board as part of the pen test. So rules of engagement is very broad because it defines rules, right? Things you're allowed to do, things you're not allowed to do during this assessment process. So who's responsible for what? That's going to be defined in the rules of engagement. Security requirements outline standards and practice controls, right? Compliance obligations, legally, what are we allowed to do? Well, it's HIPAA compliant. And security-wise, you can't penetrate a HIPAA compliant machine. Who do we report vulnerabilities to, or previous vulnerabilities to? If we're in your environment and we're scanning your system, we find that you're under attack. Right? Who's the right person to communicate to? Our point of contact. We go to the CEO. Change management, contractual provisions. We talked about change management yesterday. We talked about the rule RFC, request for change, CAB, change advisory board. We talked about rollback testing, pushing production, and contractual provisions. Provisions include provisions related to indemnification. Indemnification. I don't know that word.
Indemnify.
I'm guessing it has to be identified, but did they misspell that in the book? Let me see. Indemnification. I learned a new word today.
Indemnification.
All right. Compensation for harm or loss. Security against legal liabilities for one's action. In a contract law, an indemnity, the contractual obligation of one party to compensate the loss incurred by another party. Okay. So they're saying if I come in, they include provisions relating to loss and liability. Yeah. If I come in and mess up your network, you're going to be held responsible, kind of thing. So that's what the pen test, right? Mm-hmm. Pen test, since it does disrupt the network, and your network goes down, but you're supposed to be up, and then you owe a client, a fee because you didn't hold up to the bargain. Who's responsible for that fee? Is it me, or is it the pen tester that caused the issue? Yeah. It would be the pen tester.
Yeah.
That's why we get these rules of engagement. I'm gonna write that word here because I think that's something I do want to discuss. Identification. mean, this is broad. I'm trying to think how to word this. Yeah, I'm just gonna do straight here and then expand on that later. All right, it's break time. I'm just filling in my notes here.
Okay.
We'll take a 10-minute break. Yep, Bitcoin's going back down. I had a guy in my class last week ask me if I was in cryptocurrency because we were talking about it. He's like, Bitcoin just shot up. I said, oh really? What did it go up to? He's like 52,000. It was like 45. It went up to 52. I said, all right, well, that's cool, but I guarantee in a month I'm gonna hit you up and it'll be right back where it was. It's already going down. Waiting on Henry.
I was trying to order from Taco Mat. That's what
I was trying to get leave here around lunchtime, and not come back.
Okay.
That was the plan.
Yeah, I mean, my head was like kind of like wavy, you know, it was like wavy, like I was laying in the bed last night and I was feeling like this,
Like this. Gonna get any rest.
I couldn't sleep. I was like, I went to go sit in my car and I was like, maybe the fresh air would help me out, so I sat in my car for a long time. Then I came back and laid on the couch and
What you think it was? Like
I don't know, I think I've been
test anxiety or something?
not test anxiety, you know, I mean, I've been
Just other stuff?
staying up late, studying and stuff. I mean, and I didn't want to, when I went to sit at the computer, I just felt like, because I felt like I've been here all week, so I still did the homework, but it just, I didn't like, even when I was reading the questions this morning, it wasn't connecting like the sentences, and so it was taking me a long time to read. I was rereading, and it was like, I just need to like a day, not separating, but just I don't.
You need a sharpener for your brain. So it sounds like.
Yeah, I need something. I maybe like because like the first few days I was like getting off and go walking and maybe making. I haven't been doing that naturally. But they don't even send me drinking Red Bulls, drinking coffee in the morning because I be up late at night. Then I go to sleep and I get up and my body wakes me up like 7, 6 o'clock every morning. So I'm gonna get up at 6. So if I go to bed at 4, I'm gonna get up at 6. And then I'm up and then I was like, I'm gonna do a little study. So I go study and stuff. Then I come here and then it was just
It's a rough week, I know.
all over and over again. I think I pushed myself too much, and that's why last night my brain was like, nah, brother, not tonight. We need
So what do you do for work this week?
the
Did you
work.
just take off?
I called off the whole week.
Oh, you did?
I did. You're working at the VA there. As long as you got time.
Yeah.
You know what
But
I'm saying?
they wouldn't like honor it as though you're training for something. They're just like, well, I guess it's not. Is it job related?
Not because I'm not in
No.
IT.
Oh, okay.
Apologize.
So you're just trying to do a career move.
So I'm trying to transfer
Yeah.
over.
That's cool. I mean,
Oh, I forgot to close the door. Okay.
Making a change, like I said, it's never too late. My barber, he's older than me and you. He's making $240,000. So he just career change from cutting hair.
The chick I know from the military, like she said, what
Does he do?
She's good. She didn't tell me her job. Like she told me that in one ear and not the other. I know she's kind of like she said she like scanning emails all day and stuff like she does. They basically give her a task to complete by Friday, a bunch of tasks to complete by Friday, and then she says that's what she has to do for the week. And she was like, yeah, you can get one like a job like this, you get 2 of them, and then you can, it's just like performance based. You complete the task throughout the week, and then you're good. And I was like, okay. But that's what she does. But she said she's like a manager because she's been doing it for. She told me her job. I asked her, but you know, I never really. I don't really try to talk to her about that.
I know.
I
know. That's cool though. I mean, yeah, you know, everyone finds a niche and it works for them, but you got to find out what works for you, man. And I was saying to myself this morning, it's like, you know, if you're getting it, and I tell students, because there's some students come to class and I can see that I'm like, you're not passionate about IT, but they're in IT trying to get a cert. I'm like, well, I just tell them straight up, if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason, because you have to love IT. It has to excite you. He gets excited. Right? You have to be excited about it, and being excited about it makes your job easier, and it makes you want to go out and learn. And then you learning, you just get rewarded. You're going to get paid more and more money.
Yes, sir.
It's because you're excited and you want to know about this stuff. Watch Network Chuck and figure out these cool things that he's showing us for free.
I think I be getting excited about hacking, but I think when I say that, if people think that, you know, you got a
They think the bad connotation. That's what I get.
So I don't really like try to.
Don't tell people.
But like when I talk about it, I'm like, I'm like interested. I don't want to hack nobody, but it do
I'd be interested in like the pen test career.
That's what I was thinking too. And then she was like, you know, you get at the end, she like, because she was studying for hers, but I think she gave up on it.
Yeah, it's tough. But that's if you go straight towards pen testing, like this is a good progression towards pen testing. But if you go straight to pen testing, it's above Security Plus. That's tough.
Real hard. It's real hard.
Somebody who doesn't have an A+, Net Plus background, she went straight to pen testing. Yeah.
Well, she was in the Navy, and then she did that for a bunch of years. Then I think they got a Security Plus start out, and then
There's a website. You want to write this down?
Engineer. She said engineer.
Yeah, it's www.ine. It's an India November Echo.com. It's got all of it's a smart engineer. It's like CBT Nuggets. It's a paid website. I got a membership. It costs $2,000 a year, but you can get all your pen testing. It's like 300 classes, and you just sit there and just walk them down every 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Nobody got no $2,000.
I know. I got paid money. So, but they got plans. They got $30 a month.
Go to Udemy.
Oh, Udemy is cheaper. But you said pen testing, so I wanted to tell you about that.
$4.
Yeah, but for like he just said, you ain't have a Security Plus, and he's right. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
INE.
Yes, sir. INE.com. Yeah, it's the standard website for all of us.
No, I've never been here before.
Oh, wow. Yeah, as you can see, Air Force, all of them. Yeah, that's the top website. It's expensive, but those guys are one of the best. I've been with them for all the. Yeah, if you go up to the top,
Yeah.
and you click on where it says learning, and then you go to areas. Up at the top there, it tells you that they're networking, cybersecurity, data science, cloud. I'm in the networking, your CCNP, CCNA, Palo Alto, the AWS. They got tons of courses, and they just work you down. They give you paths, whatever path you want. But there's a little link at the top which will tell you what particular path you want. So if you want to go network, go networking.
85. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pages.
Those are videos, all videos. So once you get the cert, you can learn about different things. You know, I use that with Cisco Learning Network and CBT Nuggets. Like he said, if you're passionate, you're gonna find all these different people selling their services online, and these smart engineers teaching. You know, it's a little more expensive than the free YouTube. I think it's better than the free YouTube classes, because you know YouTube gets paid off of watch hours. Like when you watch them,
you can pay monthly.
Yeah, you
and
monthly.
You can access all the videos.
Yeah, well, that's the trick. That's the trick. I want to let y'all know. If you don't get the premium videos, they got different tiers. They got the premium, then the medium, and the fundamental. You probably do the fundamental. Then you go from the fundamental. You want to pay the advanced. You got to pay the $749 a year for that premium content. It's a lot of game. It's like he was talking about those different MOUs and understanding. Them people smart. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Hey, but I always say we're quick to go. You know, the black people buy them sneakers and t-shirts. And not to want to spend the same on us, invest in us.
Yes, sir.
I hope in my lifetime, black people get the
We're trying.
I hope, man.
We're trying, man.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, but like you said, it's tough.
All right, attestation. We kind of talked about this attestation early in the week when we talked about this TPM chip, Trusted Platform Module, and this HSM chip, Hardware Security Module. They both perform attestation. It's going to verify that my system has not been compromised, nothing malicious has happened. So it's taking a hash, essentially, a hash and report. And if things have changed from that hash report, attestation is going to tell me that things are not the same. So an example of attestation is that Trusted Platform Module we talked about earlier in the week.
Also verify the hash too. Hash changes.
Internal and external assessments. Okay. External audit assessment methods are essential for evaluating controls. Organizations' own employees conduct internal, provide in-depth assessments. Internal teams can conduct regular focus assessments. In contrast, third parties provide external audits. Specialized expertise, KPMG, they're specialized with knowledge of specific domains, laws, and industry best practices. External audits convey an impartial, that's where that unbiased word comes in, an objective evaluation of business practices that's impossible to obtain from somebody inside because they're going to be biased. Me and Ricky were boys. You went to lunch, you left the cat card in, boys. I'm going to let it go. Not a third party. Additionally, on 461, utilizing both internal and external methods fosters transparency and accountability. Internal promote culture, self-assessment, continuous improvement within the organization. Right? While external provides stakeholders with independent assurance, somebody else saying that it's secure, right, and validated.
Beautiful, thank you.
So they got some bullet points here. Sometimes legally we have to have somebody else externally come and perform that assessment. But again, if we do internal, it's going to be us, internal employees, assessing security. So here they talk about several, I would say these are examples of different types of internal assessments versus external assessments. And I said the main thing here, legally, we have to have somebody do external assessments, and the company requires some third party to come in. Internal, well, we have self-assessments that allows individuals inside the organization to evaluate performance. Self-assessments help identify strengths, weaknesses. Self-assessments imply internal personnel with expertise, knowledge, and understanding the assessed area are available to complete them. audit committees, when we talk about internal, we talked about committees yesterday. Committees and what was the other one? It was security committee, which I was not a part of, which are going to be supervisors, and then we had the senior governance. I think it was called governance committee, not committee. I can't remember the term. Tip of my tongue. All right, I had to go back and remember what that term was now. I cannot remember what the term was for those two type of committees.
Go back
I don't know where it was.
So they had that. They came out
All
yesterday.
right, it's on page 421. Committees, so one was called governance committees, that was right.
So I go to
And the other one
committee,
was called,
governance boards.
was it board?
It's governance
Yeah,
committee.
governance boards.
Yeah.
The governance board, that's the board of directors, wasn't part of that, and governance committee, that's gonna be people below that, wasn't part of that. But I'm here to talk about audit committee, which is gonna be, a group of people who are responsible for making sure we're secure. Kinda like the governance, governance is the same thing, same word. Right, because governance is making sure we have security policies in place to govern how people do things in an organization. So audits are just going to be holding people accountable, but the governance is the ones who create these security rules and policies in the organization. Alright. And then external assessments, here they talk about why would we need to do external assessment legally, regulatory wise. Regulatory authorities and agencies perform assessments to ensure compliance with laws. Right, so regulatory assessments involve inspection, audits, reviews, right, identifying deficiencies and enforcing laws, regulatory obligations. Right, and then, of course, the word that they use, independent third-party audit, does objective and unbiased assessment of the organization's controls. So sometimes we need a different viewpoint. We're going to be using an external assessment. Pen testing in 463. Pen test, often shortened with the word pen test, penetration test, sorry. I'm used to saying pen test myself. Is authorized hacking or ethical hacking, right, or white hat hacking. We're going to verify the threats, we're going to bypass controls, we're going to test controls, and we're going to exploit vulnerabilities. But the difference is we're going to tell people. We're going to tell people how to prevent what we did from occurring from a real threat. So they mentioned these known environment, partial, unknown environment. That's essentially what we talked about earlier in the week. I don't know why they have another word here, but that's black box, white box, gray box testing. Okay. So we can perform pen testing with two types of reconnaissance, active and passive. We looked at passive reconnaissance. I'll show you guys an example today. Here's an example of passive reconnaissance. I'm not working for the information. I'm going to go to ajcfood.com, and I want to penetrate or attack and gain access to things in this organization. I'll go to About Us. I'll go here to Officer Bios. And here I see people's faces. First, last name, I see the job title, and he's the CEO.
LinkedIn
Even
connection.
send me a LinkedIn connection. Right? So I can see his job history, I can see who he's friends with. So there's a lot of things here that I would say, and they've changed some things, because when I first worked here, they definitely didn't have LinkedIn here. And I think they're having LinkedIn here now because the marketing person here says that's a good way to market and get contacts and all that kind of stuff. But it's also a good way for social engineering attacks to happen. Right?
Well, good point. It's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess.
But Indeed, right? Job postings. These are all going to have ways I can do passive reconnaissance. Oh, you're hiring somebody that supports Windows XP. Well, now I know that you use Windows XP systems in your environment. Passive.
Yeah.
Versus active reconnaissance, when we can go here into CMD and we can use active tools. There's some more hacking tools for you guys here. This hacking tool is called Who Is, and I downloaded it on my computer already. And we go Who Is, www.facebook.com. And Who Is giving me a database of information about when did Facebook register that domain name, facebook.com? Well, you can see here that it was registered in 1997. I know, all right? It expires in 2032, which don't even think about it. It's probably going to auto-renew at that date. Nobody's going to be able to get that domain name. But we can see here, they've anonymized a lot of information. Here, it says who registered it. It just says registrarsafe.llc. We don't know who the company that Facebook paid to register this information. But we do have some valid information. Now they anonymized the name here. See that? Domain admin's anonymized, but we can see Meta is now the name of the company. We can see where they're located.
That's right.
We have some phone numbers here. We don't have an actual email address, right? So a lot of information here is anonymized, but we could type in somebody else like georgiatech.edu. And now we start seeing things like who the administrative contact is, first and last name, their phone number, right? We see who the technical contact is. And I actually went to LinkedIn, by the way, in one class. I looked them up, and I was able to find him on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see his picture,
Oh, wow.
right? But I didn't know who the technical contact was until I went to this tool and looked it up.
That's
Right?
And it's called Who Is?
Who is? You got to download it.
And there's
And then I run it via CMD command. I don't like the GUI interface. GUI
so
interface
on
doesn't
Google.
give
Where did I
that
find it on
information.
Google? I'm looking it up. It's not coming up.
YouTube, who is, and it'll show you how to do it.
Copy.
Yeah. YouTube's your friend, man.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
There's over 100 tools. I'm like, which one? Okay.
There is. So that's one of several active reconnaissance tools, right? You can use port scanning. We looked at Nmap earlier in the week where you can use it as a discovery tool. You said it looked like your vulnerability tool, right? Where you can scan a specific IP address. We can fingerprint what operating systems are installed. These are discovery tools with Nmap. Put an Nmap real
Nmap,
quick.
yes, the Nmap type, but yeah.
Because I didn't, I'll put an example. Because I didn't run it in my environment. Actually, I'm going to use a variation of Nmap called ZenMap. ZenMap's a GUI interface. ZenMap's easier to use than Nmap. So, let me find a good picture for y'all. Here's a decent one. See this? They scan systems, but look at the OS fingerprinting over here. You can see Penguins, Linux, you can see Windows, you can see the name of the system. Then you can click on more output and look at the services. So now we know what 80 is. We know this is a web server. Apache is an application used in Linux to host websites. So this is a web server in their organization. And being a web server, I want to take that web server down. It takes basically the face of your company down from the internet. And I was able to find that using this tool called Nmap. Discovering about the environment. And like you said, no, I cannot run this remotely. I have to be in the organization and connected to use Nmap. That's free too. ZenMap is probably what I would download. But that's an active reconnaissance, right? I have to actively use it, actively work and use it. Web application crawling, right? These are examples of active reconnaissance, right? That's what Google does. Google scrapes. You type in a keyword, it scrapes the internet for that particular keyword, and people pay a premium to come back on the search results for the first and second page.
Yeah,
that's
So
right.
we don't ever get past the first, second page. I'm looking for somebody to cut trees down. The first, second page, I'm making the phone call. Right?
That's true.
Passive reconnaissance is gathering information, but I didn't have to work for it. So that's what social engineering is about, right? Or that's what looking for open source intelligence. That's when I went to that website and saw people's faces and their job titles and LinkedIn and Indeed, right? Or I take you out to lunch and we just talk, right? I'm eliciting information, but I'm not using a tool to actively penetrate and look for this information. Right? We already talked about this known, partially, and unknown pen testing. They call it known is white box, partially is gray box, and
I know a little bit.
sorry, known white box, partial gray box, unknown black box. So synonyms, they mean the same thing here. Looking on the next slide. Exercise types. So pen testing is a crucial component of cybersecurity assessments. It involves simulating real-world attacks. That's where we talk about the red team on Monday. Different types of pen tests exist to address specific objectives related to security evaluation, such as testing systems, assessing incident response capabilities. That's when we assess how fast it's going to take for somebody to respond to something compromising the CIA, and measuring the effectiveness of physical controls. Different types of pen tests allow organizations to use a flexible and prioritized approach towards security assessment. So offensive pen testing, often called the red team, is a proactive, controlled approach to simulate real-world attacks. Primary goal of offensive pen tests for the red team: find weaknesses and find vectors of which I can gain access to the network. So they use the tactics, techniques, procedures. So we talked about that, the minor attack. And the blue team, we talked about this on Monday, right? 466. Their job is to do what? The opposite, simulate defending. So they put controls or safeguards in place. Physical pen testing, exactly what it sounds like. Physical security testing describes assessment of organization's physical security practices. That's like the man traps or gates, fences, stuff like that. Simulating real-world attack scenarios, identify vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and physical. So can I get past your gate? Can I get past your perimeter of security? Can I get past the server room door and trick it with my fingerprint and gain access into it? Integrated pen testing refers to holistic approach. So I like that word holistic. Holistic means overall. Overall, taking into consideration everything that I could use to penetrate the environment, from phones to email to the admins to tablets, the sign-in book, physical, technical, administrative control types. Holistic approach combines different types of pen testing methodologies and techniques to assess the overall security of the organization's systems, network, applications, physical infrastructure. Integrated penetration test aims to provide a comprehensive, realistic evaluation of the security. The importance of integrated pen testing lies in its ability to accurately represent the organization's security policy, posture, identify potential risks often overlooked when testing isolated areas. For example, the combination of offensive and defensive, that's red and blue team, pen testing provides a comprehensive assessment of the organization's overall security posture. Offense tests identifies vulnerabilities and weaknesses, while defense evaluates how to mitigate against those vulnerabilities, not respond. By integrating both, organizations can improve their security capabilities, to protect against different threat areas. All right. We get to 16. Last but not least, another short. This is short, right? 20 slides is very short. There's not even 20 slides because half of them are these. So we got about 15 slides, maybe 12. What are we talking about in lesson 16? It says summarize data protection and compliance concepts. Explain privacy and data sensitivity concepts. And explain privacy and data protection controls. So this is where we're going to be talking about how to back up data, how to protect the data, classify the data, and how to sanitize some of this data. Right? And laws that dictate how long we hold on to this data. That's retention policies we kind of talked about. And another word we talked about early in the week, we talked about this, trade secrets. Remember I was talking about my brother, Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, we did.
We talked about that. So on the next page, 470, data types. The concept of data type refers to categorizing or classifying data based on its characteristics, structure, and intended use. So we talked about the reason why we classify data, so that we know how to secure it. Top secret data is going to be secured with a guy with a machine gun. Where secret and classified, or especially unclassified, we don't care how to secure that data. It's just going to be out there and open. Anybody has access to it. But legally, government, you guys legally have to classify data. Corporate America, we don't have to. It's optional. And our classifications are not the same. We classify top secret as proprietary. So we don't use the same classification. And unclassified, we classify that as public. Right? So in CISP, we actually have to know the difference between government classifications and corporate classifications. Right? And something called grave damage, that's top secret. Secret is going to be serious damage, and then classified is going to be just some damage.
Huh.
So we get damage, serious damage, grave damage. Top secret grave damage, I think about somebody gets a nuclear launch plants. That's causing grave damage. Lots of people are dying. Serious damage, right? That's considered secret. Not a lot of people dying, but some are dying. And then, which is secret, and classified still is going to do damage. So it's just damage. Not serious, not grave, but it's going to do damage.
Gotcha.
So really, I don't have access to any of those as a civilian, right? But unclassified, yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing. Of course, we got access to that. It's when they take the alien documents that were classified, and now they release them to the public. They're now unclassified documents. But anyways, legally, sometimes we have to classify things. Regulated data refers to specific categories of information subject to legal or regulatory requirements regarding the handling, storage, and protection. So we know, we talk about HIPAA, and we know that there's laws that dictate how we protect PHI, PCI DSS. We talk about credit card information. There's a law, that's what PCI DSS is. It's a law that dictates there's certain ways in which you have to secure taking of this information, credit card data, whether it's over the phone, over the network, or whatever the case may be. Trade secrets. Now, trade secrets is the only law that basically protects information forever, right? Because we have laws and stuff, get into CISP, just giving you guys a heads up. CISP, we talk about a law called the copyright law. We've all heard of the copyright law, but do we know how good the copyright law is good for?
Oh, good question.
CISP, we actually have to know, 70 years after the last surviving author's death. So we think about the author of Michael Jackson Off the Wall, Barry Gordy, which is still alive.
Right.
So we gotta wait 7 years after this guy dies before that work or that art could be used without infringing on the copyright.
Fascinating.
But
Wow.
Barry Gordy is probably going to sell that to somebody else. And Sony is the Mickey Mouse rule. It's an entity. It's a never dying entity.
So you can keep it forever.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson owned Sony though.
He did. See, I'm a Michael Jackson fan, so
Me
don't
too.
get me started.
Right, well, yeah,
He did.
definitely.
He did, but Sony bought it back. And after Michael Jackson died, a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes.
They should have never really gave it to him. They never gave him.
Remember you did that video, we stood up in
the
front of everybody?
Beyonce, the Beatles, they never
Prince
gave
was
it.
the only smart one.
Oh, Master,
That's why
yeah.
they
Former
killed-
artist
that's
known
why
as
they killed
Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a symbol. He learned it. Yeah, he knew the truth.
So he's the only one, and he tried to pass that on to other artists, and some of the other artists that aren't like as mainstream, that didn't blow up. They maintain their intellectual property. They have their
Man, call them masters.
they have their masters. That's
Yeah.
what I was looking for. Yes.
Mhm.
Anyways, trade secrets are the only ones that can actually protect the critical information of the company. That's why it's called a trade secret. If that information got out, it would do detrimental harm to how that company makes money. But trade secrets, unlike copyrights, they never die. We also talk about in CISP something called a patent. A patent is good for 20 years, right? So patents, when you think about Shark Tank,
Yeah, I
and
love
they ask
watching
you,
that
do you have
show.
any
Yes.
patents?
Yes.
I can protect your thought and idea for 20 years, and you have to submit your thought and idea to the patent office. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, is it something that's useful? Can't get a patent for something that's not useful. Is it something new, something somebody has not thought about? And is it something that's not obvious? Catching water in a pail from a roof, that's obvious. I can't get a patent for that. So if it meets all three of these requirements, then you can pay like $5,000 or something crazy to get a patent for that thought and idea, but after 20 years, somebody else can come in and use that idea. That doesn't protect it forever.
Yes, man, yes.
Yeah.
Feel like something like Forks is owned by somebody else now. I don't know who was the original Fork, like a Fork.
Oh,
I don't know who's the original.
I don't know.
Person on light bulbs.
That's a
like
good
they talk
question.
about Light bulbs, like
Yeah.
somebody else owned.
Yeah, I'm sure those thoughts and ideas have long expired, and this is why all these companies, anybody can make that.
And they buy it and
Yeah.
they put it into like a corporation and
Yeah.
it's like for recycling.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, when you think about patents, you're thinking about something that's not been thought of yet before, and it's brand new. So maybe I think about, when I think about patents, I think about baby diapers and the ultra absorbency of some of these diapers when they first came out. There's some type of patent for that particular diaper where the competitor can't use the same absorption material that that competitor uses for their diapers, so it makes their diapers much better than somebody else's. Right? But 20 years from now, hey, you can get the cheap knockoff brands, and it's going to have the same technology built in.
But if you was a corporation, you can buy that patent and then put it in that corporation name, and then even after you die after 20 years, it's still
No.
Okay, that's my
That's different. Patents are only protected for 20 years. Copyright's 70 years after somebody dies.
Yeah.
You're getting the two mixed up.
Okay. No, I was just trying to. I was fishing for questions and answers and stuff.
But there's no way around the patent.
If you could create that type of business and pass down that for generational wealth.
Because when you submit your patent, you're submitting your idea to an office. And anybody can go to the patent office and look at all the patents that have expired and use those ideas to create their own.
Yeah, but so like, let's say I buy the light bulb patent. I didn't create it. I just rebought
It's
the
good
patent.
for 20 years. That's it. Out of 20 years, you're not buying a patent. You're submitting a patent. You're submitting your thought and idea.
Okay.
You can't go and buy somebody's patent.
So that is after 20 years, nobody can have that patent.
So after 20 years, so say you thought of something new. You thought of an invention. That's what inventors do. And then you go to the patent office to say, hey, I want to protect this so that nobody else can use my thought and idea and invent the same thing I'm about to invent. So you pay money to protect your thought and idea. That's what a patent office is. You can't go to the patent office and buy somebody else's patent. That's what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
Right? But your thought and idea is only going to be protected for 20 years. So somebody else can invent the same thing you invented and make money off of your thought and idea, and you can't do anything about it.
Fascinating.
Human readable. Where are we at? So we talk about trade secrets. Legal and financial data. Legal and financial data encompasses critical data and legal compliance, financial reporting, decision making, and risk management. Legal data includes documents, contracts, legally binding things, court records. Right? On the other hand, financial data pertains to information concerning finance, performance, and transactions, including financial statements, balance sheets, cash flows. Where we talk about this? Because it's data. And there might be information in these legal documents or financial data, these salaries or whatever that we have to legally keep safe, keep secure. Human readable, non-human readable data. Right? So we call this compiled code and uncompiled code. Now we can't read zeros and ones, but computers can. Computers can take those zeros and ones and on or off and process that information, right? Humans, unfortunately, can't. So humans would read what's called uncompiled code. Human readable data refers to information that humans can easily understand. Human readable data describes a format that is accessible and readable, such as text, images. Human readable data includes documents, reports, emails. On the other hand, non-human data, which would be compiled code, refers to data that is not easily understood, interpreted in its raw form. It may be machine-readable format, such as binary, zeros and ones, encrypted data, or data represented in complex structure, encoding, software, algorithms, cipher. Non-human readable data often requires processing and transformation to make it understandable to humans. Human, non-human readable data formats have distinct implications for security. Human readable and non-human readable data formats impact security operations control in different ways. Security monitoring, user awareness, DLP, content filtering, web security are more directly applicable to human. Makes sense, right? If I have plain text escaped in my organization, my data loss prevention is going to be able to see that plain text and prevent it. But if it's not human readable, DLP is not going to be able to detect that somebody is sending zeros and ones that contain sensitive data outside the organization. So it's a little bit harder to secure code and non-human readable information than it is to secure something that we can read, because we can read it and then we can secure it. Data classifications on the next page. So here, this I was talking about, you can actually see in the book where the left-hand side is talking about 472, corporate classification, and the right-hand side is talking about government. So public is unclassified, confidential, secret, critical, top secret. Now, looking through this, they left out a lot of classification levels, right? I think it's about top secret, secret, classified, then unclassified, right? So at least 4 that I know that we talk about in CISP, and then in some classes, when I have government people in the class, they say there's actually more than that, right? So it depends on where you work, how many classifications you have. So for Security Plus, these are the ones that they're talking about. Public, confidential, critical. Where does this come in? Well, if you think about proprietary, we had to click and drag, right? Our SIM was clicking and dragging intellectual property, right? And this was what code, I think, was the question on a SIM, right?
Mhm.
So here in the book it says proprietary or intellectual property is information created and owned by the company. So I think it was soft. Yeah, I think where's the SIM? Let me go to it real quick. We go here to new folder. We go to 601 SIMs. Just curious in how this is worded and how well the book is really preparing us for this. Which most of the time it doesn't prepare us well. Decommissioned mechanical hard drive containing application source code. It says information created by the company, typically about products or services that they make. IP is obvious target for companies' competitors. IP in some industries such as defense industries and interest for foreign governments. IP also represents counterfeiting opportunity, movies, music, books, for instance. So it doesn't mention code in the book. So how well are you preparing us? Count to you, because if you read that question on your own and never seen the answer, you might have trouble selecting that as intellectual property. But yeah, code is thoughts and ideas. Right? Private data. Now we have private's considered PII up here. Right? Information relating to an individual. So we have a database containing driver's license as an individual. We have employee records as an individual. There's one other one we had up here with PII, right? I think. No, employee records. No. The only one that we got to move down is 2. 2 needs to be in public, which is our exchange traded organizations. So yeah, I think we would have an easier time selecting PII in this particular SIM. Sensitive. This label is usually used in the context of personal data privacy. Sensitive information about a subject that can harm them if made public, or can cause prejudiceness. We think about your, I guess, sexual preference. Yeah, sexual orientation is the correct word I'm looking for. Yes, that would be sensitive data. That's an example they use in the book. Race. Yeah, I guess that could cause some type of biasness, right? People don't normally know when is how I sound on the phone and my name. They won't really know my race until I get to the interview, right? My mom named me Sean, spelled it that way for a reason. Obviously, she thought about that because that's the society we live in. So, true story. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I went to an interview, and on the phone, of course, I don't sound like probably how I look. But when I got to the interview, the owner of the company walked down the stairs, and he looked at me, and he kind of cocked his head. He's like, "Sean?" I already knew right there. I might as well turn around and left. I should have turned around and left right then and wasted a whole hour because the dude he didn't care about anything. He asked me some stupid random questions, and I just knew. I had a gut feeling that I'm not getting this job.
Been there. He's right.
Yeah.
I'm Henry, so that's what I get the same thing.
Yeah. So, long story short, in retrospect, good, because I want to be here where I'm at today. If I had got hired, I might have been what's called gotten too comfortable at the position and stayed there, and I would have missed all these opportunities later.
Yeah.
I always tell people, don't be, especially early in your career, job hop, man. That's what I did. I hopped from job to job to job. I would say about a year max before I was looking for something new. Never got comfortable. I always was looking for something better, more money. And the only way really to get that is not staying
I agree with that.
where you're at. You jump and you get a bigger boost in salary. Hang on one sec. Hello? Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, you just called up my car. Yes, I'm picking up on Sunday. Yes. Thank you so much. You got it. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Bye. I had to start being nice because I could tell that was like her first day. So we calmed down. We calmed down, and they should know in the database I'm there like every other weekend. They know me. All right. But where were we talking about?
I'm talking about your name was,
the racism that we have to go
Yeah.
through. Yes. All right. Data sovereignty. All right. Data sovereignty concept. Yes, you can read the book's definition, but I want to give you a very simple definition of this.
Okay.
If I move my data to the cloud, which ATG did, it's my responsibility. What data sovereignty says, it's my responsibility to know where in the world, geographically, where is that data stored? Because if it's stored in Russia data centers or China data centers, my data is not secured the same way legally with laws as it would be stored legally with laws in the United States. So now it's my responsibility to call Microsoft and say, you got to move my data to American data servers immediately. All right? That's what data sovereignty is. Right? It is my responsibility to determine where that data resides. Right. I know geographical considerations here that he's talking about. I think I talked about this word called geographical dispersion, meaning that I don't want all my data to be in data centers in the southeast, because if there's a blackout in the southeast, then my data is going to be down. Right? Kind of like what happened yesterday with AT&T.
Yep.
They could have done a better job of whatever happened. Who knows what happened, but it seemed that there were specific areas that were down, right? And maybe they could have had some type of better redundancy with these specific
Yeah, we
areas.
do. It was Watertown, Massachusetts, and Allen, Texas, which those
Yeah.
are 2 data centers.
Yeah.
The whole country.
I guess that's where the data center is primarily located, yeah, Atlanta
That's
and
what they-
Texas and
Yeah.
stuff. So I guess they couldn't do anything about that. Privacy data, the next page. So just geographical considerations, we're going to just talk about how that could impact our business. We just have to know that if we are going to set up our data, it should be spread out as much as possible, and it should have redundancy as much as possible.
Redundancy, okay.
Alright, go back to PowerPoint slide and kind of catch up here. Geographic dispersion, privacy of data. Privacy data refers to personal, identifiable, sensitive information, PII. So this is where they identify what is considered PII. Anything that can be used to find a person's first and last name. So it's PII that I'm a Christian. Is that considered PII?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I don't tell people that kind of stuff. Well,
I don't.
No, that's not. I mean, are you going to be able to identify my first and last name because I say I'm Christian?
no.
Right.
You said it.
Or that I'm a male? No.
No.
Right. It's PII if I give you my social security number.
Yes.
Right. Or driver's license number.
Yes.
Right. So that's the concept I'm trying to make.
Gotcha.
PII, because sometimes the definition is, it gets vague. It gets, you're not sure because he says that that's PII. He's not going to tell somebody who's Christian, right? But that's book-wise, right?
Yeah.
That's not considered PII. So I always tell people, if you can find somebody's first and last name from the information given, that's considered PII.
I got somebody at my job who questioned that. As soon as somebody say they're Christian,
Yeah.
he go to work.
Uh-oh.
He borderline atheist.
Uh-oh.
Oh, really? No, he don't like that.
No, he asked questions. He was like, so in the Bible,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I killed X amount of people.
He's one of those arguer
Yeah.
We
guys.
call him apologists. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
an
what would you
apologist.
say?
Apologist. That is the term is he wants to, debate. He's a debater. He's trying
He
to
wants
drill
you-
down the
he
facts,
wants you to
find out if you believe what
so
you
God's
believe.
so good and white
Yeah.
people-
Yeah.
He like that. I'm like, Carl, man, relax. Like, let me be able to
And I like that. I like to argue points, and I'm decent with the Bible because I went to a Christian school. So we had Bible class every Wednesday. Actually, every day. It wasn't even Wednesday. We had church on Wednesdays in school, and Bible was a class that we actually had every single day. I got graded in Bible, so I could debate him. But of course, he's going to ask questions that any pastor trying to debate somebody who's not a Christian, the last thing is going to be faith. You're like, well, how do you believe in God if you've never seen him, you never
Correct.
touched or felt
Correct.
him? I mean, that's his ultimate argument,
Right.
right? And there's no way that I can argue that.
Like he like to argue about the missing books in the Bible.
Of
Yeah.
course, still there's
He like
61
the
books.
Book of Enoch and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just looking at a document on that the other day, man. Yeah.
Like the angels and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said God told the angels not to have sex with the women, but then he turned around and basically get Mary pregnant. So technically he had sex with Mary. So he basically contradicted himself by getting Mary pregnant. I was like, that's
But
kind of...
Mary didn't get pregnant by.
He impregnated
Yeah,
her.
he impregnated her.
It's
Yeah.
still it's kind
But
of...
he still
His
doesn't.
baby,
Trying to
you know,
use it.
visible, like, he impregnated her.
So,
Christians.
but see, he doesn't. He sounds like he doesn't know the Bible enough to argue.
Right. Right.
So he's asking questions.
Trying to
based
start a
on
fight. Yeah.
Not even having
All the information.
background
Yeah.
information in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Some
I'm
people
like, dude, you need
for
to chill,
sure.
my boy, because he be giving the nurses hell.
Yeah.
He be giving them hell, because he just...
Sounds fun though.
It kind of be, but I really... Some of them get to the point where I'm crying.
Yeah.
And they be like, Scott, I just believe. And I'm like, well, you believe in what? Like, I just feel that, man. Just feel that.
I don't know, man. You know, to be honest, it's gonna take something to scare him into being like, oh, okay, well, now who are you gonna be praying to when you need some type of medical help?
That's
Well,
right.
he
That's
was
right.
in the war.
Yeah.
He was
That's
like
right.
in the war, so he was like, man, there's no God. He was like, man, God don't exist. Because he's like, definitely there's no God in war. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Who God gonna root for? He was like, man, I see people blowing shot in the head and all this other stuff, and like, you know what I'm saying? People crying out to God, and then they take a bullet to the face. You know what I'm saying? Where was God then? He was like, so yeah, it was like,
This dude's good.
His disability is like he got a. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically he got a depressed, like kind of aura.
Yeah.
Like everybody that says he's kind of like give a serial killer vibe.
Yeah.
Like he really kind of do. He's always dressed in black. He always kind of like a gloomy type environment around him, like type of deal. So yeah, I was like, yeah, he cool beast, but he do give that gloomy atmosphere off.
Yeah.
Like, and everything. So like he'll go deep into. He the one he be watching. Like he stays in with Russia. Like he gets some channel he watch on YouTube where he just watching people dropping the bombs and killing the Ukraine. They drop the bombs and just kill the Ukraine, blow them up, and I'm like, dude, relax, dude. You kind of like we're trying to bring you down. We don't want to build you up. Like you're already dark as it is. Like relax. Like, so let's stop watching that. Put on like some music or something.
Get some jazz on, man.
Yeah, they're
Relax.
looking at you and they think you kind of yeah.
But yeah, that's just understanding privacy of data, and here they're talking about this word called data subjects.
Yeah.
Towards the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So here it says privacy data focuses on protecting personal information, to prevent individuals' private rights, prevent identity theft, and maintain confidentiality of personal details. Privacy data is also closely associated with the rights of individuals to control the use of disclosure of personal information. Individuals have the right to access, correct, and request the deletion of privacy data. In contrast, that's what the GDPR states, by the way, this right to be forgotten. In contrast, confidentiality data typically does not grant specific rights to the data subjects as it relates more to organizations' proprietary information. So a data subject is me, a subject is a user. Here they're talking about the rights to privacy of files and folders. That's what they're talking about, organizations' proprietary information. That's files, folders, and data, not my personal information. Data subject. So my first and last name, my email address, where I live, right, my age and my weight. That's what they're saying, that I don't have access to those rights, but I do have access to the rights of the company's proprietary information. Handling of privacy data often requires explicit consent from the subject for its collection, the user. So that means I got to call the admin and say, hey, I don't have access to this file or folder. Could you grant me access to this file or folder? Use of disclosure, particularly in compliance with privacy laws and regulations. On the other hand, Confidential data, while protected, may not necessarily require individual consent for its handling, as it is associated with internal or business-related information. Legal implications. So they mentioned a whole page over here is GDPR. GDPR is the concept of what I read on the previous page, right? Where it basically says individuals have the right to access, correct, and request deletion of the privacy of their data. That's what the GDPR gave EU citizens the rights to call somebody and say, I want you to delete my data. And if they don't do it, legally, they can be held responsible. Right? Now, in CISP, we talk about something that predated the GDPR called the Data Privacy Derivative Act. So the DPD was amended to the GDPR in 2018. It's when Obama was in office. But they both did the same thing. EU citizens, right?
Gotcha.
Their rights to be forgotten. And there's GDPR, rules and responsibilities. We talked about what the data subject is. We talked about this yesterday. Controller and processor.
Yep.
Roles and responsibilities. Here's that right to be forgotten that is talked about. So here's the privacy of data, and this, I'm just kind of catching up on my PowerPoint slides thing. Roles and responsibilities. Alright, so actually right here, around 475, roles and responsibilities. So the process controller, I told you yesterday the controller is one who controls the data, the processor is one who processes data based on the controller. So why is this correlating to GDPR? Because the GDPR is storing people's information.
Yes.
And data controller has to make sure that we securely store that information. And the processor is going to make sure that we process that data based on how the controller tells us how we can process that information. And since the GDPR has some types of regulations on how to secure the privacy of EU citizens, there's going to be different ways in which we control and process EU people's data versus how we process and control people who are not of EU citizenship. They mentioned there's a California Consumer Privacy Act on the next page. We talked about that yesterday too, right? We talked about all these privacy laws. All right, and I think that there's nothing really there I want to talk about other than that right to be forgotten. That's a term that I mentioned yesterday. Right? I have the right to be forgotten, the right for you to delete my data. That's what GDPR assesses. So they have a good 3 pages about this GDPR.
All right.
We can guarantee that we're going to see
We'll be on the test.
some question about GDPR in the exam.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we've seen a bunch of them in the homework. Right? So if it mentions a user's data is in Europe, we are automatically looking for GDPR.
Yes.
If it mentions what law can dictate how we keep privacy of people's data we process, we're looking for GDPR. Right? Or anything about how we process PII. Right? What law dictates how we can protect it. GDPR. Right. More GDPR at bottom of 476. The question of ownership regarding privacy of data is complex. In general, it's not easy to attribute traditional notions of ownership to privacy data. Ownership of privacy data is often not considered in terms of traditional property rights. Under many data protection laws, such as GDPR, the emphasis is placed on the rights and protection of the data subject, which is me, the user, rather than determining the ownership. The data subject has control over their personal data and can exercise certain rights, such as the rights to access, rectify, and delete the data. What they're saying here is that even though my data is at T-Mobile, and they are storing my data for me paying my phone, doesn't mean that they have ownership of the data, because the ownership really belongs to me. It's my information, right? So I should have the rights to that data that you're storing at T-Mobile. If I don't want you to have that data stored, it's my right to say, delete it. Data inventories and retention. So sometimes we gotta hold on to data for a certain period of time. That's what retention is, all right? Let's talk about this data inventory. Privacy laws from 477 profoundly impact data inventories and data retention practices. within organizations. These laws, such as GDPR, California Protection Act, require organizations to maintain detailed record of personal data they collect, process, and store. Data inventories provide a comprehensive overview of the types of data being handled, the purpose of processing, the legal basis, and recipients of the data to ensure transparency and accountability. Data inventories are crucial in identifying legal grounds for data processing. By keeping an inventory of the data, organizations can align their practices with the principle of data minimization and purpose limitation. So let's talk about this word data minimization.
Okay.
Does T-Mobile have my passport number? No. Why do you think T-Mobile didn't collect my passport information? They don't need it, right? So data minimization is the concept of, if I'm storing somebody's data, the less data I store, the better off I am as far as being protected and liabilities. Because if my data gets breached, I'm not responsible for protecting your passport number because I didn't collect it.
Okay.
I'm only going to collect information that I need to process you in my database. And I'm not going to say, hey, well, I need this information just in case. Right? So data minimization is, again, the concept of minimizing the amount of data that you collect to legally minimize ramifications that could occur to your organization if a data breach were to happen. Now the data inventory topic here they talk about is it's going to have a whole inventory of what data is collected by T-Mobile for me in their database. Okay. And that inventory is going to give them a better idea of what needs to be protected. And based on inventory, if there's stuff in inventory that they're like, why the heck did you collect it? Gotta get rid of it, delete it, remove it. I've never worked for an organization where there's times, so Active Directory, for example, you're like nodding your head already, you know where I'm going with this. Active Directory user setup. So here's a picture of Active Directory, you see this? But look at all this stuff on this property that I can type in for Carol. I can type in their address if I want to. Now, do I need that information? No, right? But some companies will actually want to populate this information in their database, right? Think about an anal Active Directory admin who says he wants to make sure all the tabs are filled out. But I don't need that information. So he goes beyond what the company's scope says. Hey, I want to fill this information out because everyone else's address is in the system. Right? Well, that user does have the right to say, no, you don't need my address. Right? And of course, having an address in here is going to do what? Other people have access to Active Directory. Now they know where this person lives.
Right.
So there's lots of information in here that I choose not to fill out, and the company doesn't require me to fill out. I'm going to fill out first and last name and the name in which is going to be displayed to the end user when they log into the system. But I don't care to fill out where you work or your phone number, even your email or web page. I don't fill that stuff out. Now some companies will say, hey, at a minimum, we need their first and last name and email address to create their account at a minimum. But like I said, there's lots of tabs over here, telephones and all these other things that we could do as far as populating this information. All right. Retention is another area impacted by privacy laws. So legally, there are laws for certain companies, and I'll talk about the one that I learned from two guys in my class that were managers at the hospital. I asked them, how long do you keep patients' data? They said, forever. I said, forever, ever? They didn't get the joke. And they're like, yes, forever. I said, even after the patient dies, forever, ever? And they're like, yeah, even after the patient dies, we still got to keep the records.
West, baby.
Right? So there's laws that dictate how long we keep information. AJC, not ATG, AJC, different company I worked for, we had a 5-year retention policy. So every 5 years, we could delete email older than 5 years, legally. Right? So court came back and said, we need an email from 2000. I don't have to recover that email because I have a policy that I have created and I can give them the policy and say we only keep email for 5 years. So legally, that covers myself.
Got you.
Boeing, we talked about CISP, Boeing, the aircraft company, they didn't have a retention policy. So the court ordered them to recover information. You know, they're in trouble now. They had to recover 14,000 tapes of data because they had no retention policy. Yeah. And then they had to comb through 14,000 tapes to make sure there's no sensitive information before they gave it to the people who were asking for it. True story. I bet you they got one now.
You're right.
Bet you got one now. So, yes, we do have breaches that occur. And did you guys know legally a company has to report breaches of 500 people or more if it's considered a HIPAA breach? Hospitals.
Wow.
So I always make fun because in CISP we're told that if it's 499 people or less, I don't have to report it. But it's 500, this magic number, 500 or more, legally we have to report that to authorities. So Zuckerberg, he had to report that to authorities when Facebook got breached. What was the worst thing that damaged? Wasn't Zuckerberg having to pay? It's that reputation. We're in the cancel culture now. Everyone's in the streets all cancel Facebook. He could pay the fines. He could get identity theft protection. He has infinite money. But that reputation, that's hard to repair. That's when I was telling you guys the stock crashed. So yes, there are notifications of that breach. Like I said, that we have to notify people. They don't get into it in Security Plus, but in CISP we talk about the 500 people or more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And escalating, are we going to send it to the CEO? Are we going to escalate that to the news? Are we going to escalate that to the president?
Mm.
All right, so public disclosure, they do talk about HIPAA here. Does it say? Let's see, I might have talked too soon. HIPAA sets out reporting requirements and legislation requiring breach notification to affected individuals. Oh, they added it. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
They added it. Security Plus is trying to be like CISP. I promise you. There's no way they can fit all the information in CISP in the book. But that's something that was not in 501 or 601. Right? So yeah, there's a 500. I'm making it up. Alright. So anyways, there's legal ramifications obviously for data being breached, and we had to report it publicly. Impacts of non-compliance. Non-compliance with data protection. Where we get on time? 11:59. I want to do this. So 11:59. Let's take a vote. You guys are different. Take a vote. You guys are different. Do we want to continue? I think within roughly 30 minutes we could wrap up the day and call it a day, or do we want to go to lunch and then come back and continue?
No, we can just continue right there.
Continue.
Okay, cool. So I was thinking, I wasn't sure, so I said, let me ask. All right. So impacts of non-compliance. That means if we don't follow the law, what happens? We get fined, jail, sentence, identity theft, reputation, all that stuff that they talk about in that paragraph on 479. All right. Software licensing. Here again, Windows. I went to an environment that had Windows installed on all the users' machines. I found out that they were bootleg copies.
Oh,
Yeah. So I couldn't update anything because it says you must contact Windows to fix your license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just told the CEO that day, I said, hey, if you want me to do anything with your systems, you're going to get legal copies on there because I don't want to be a part when auditors come in and they think I was the one that installed illegal copies of Windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never fixed the issue. So they never get updates. In fact, I turned updates off on all the machines because they kept on saying, hey, we keep getting problems for updates. And the updates never worked because they didn't have illegal copies. I just said, I'm going to turn all the updates off. Leave it how it is. You got bootleg copies. They didn't really need Windows for that reason. They were doing something completely separate that we didn't really care about security of Windows. Breach of contract. Impacts of contractual non-compliance. So here I'm just making sure we understand that what happens if we don't have a license installed. We get fined. We get in trouble when auditors come in and don't see that software has been licensed to each user's machine to use a bootleg copy. That's not a good thing. The breach of contract. Non-compliance can result in the breach of contract. Contracts between parties often include provisions related to data protection. Termination of contracts. There's that identification of liability. So I've already looked the word up and I know exactly what it means now. That means I'm gonna hold somebody else responsible, right? And non-compliance penalties, right? All these are pretty much the same. If I don't hold up to my bargain of the contract, somebody's getting fined. But who is it? Is it gonna be me? Is it gonna be that person's responsibility? Are we just gonna cancel the contract and just part ways? Dust our hands and say, all right, nobody's in trouble. We're just gonna part ways. Monitoring, reporting. I've already talked about monitoring, right? Monitoring of security in my environment. I said we didn't have somebody actively monitoring. We just had auditors come in every 3 months. But we are going to have somebody who monitors to see if we're legally complying. I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a great example, real life example. I'm going to read this real quick, make sure I'm not going to get off the tangent with the example. Compliance monitoring and reporting process involves systematically assessing and evaluating reporting, organization's adherence to law and regulation contracts. Effective reporting monitoring requires establishing compliance framework, making ongoing monitoring activities, and collecting relevant data and analysis. Yes. So this is accurate. Chipotle got in trouble a long time ago. You guys remember?
Yeah, I'm on
Food
TV.
poisoning?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Their stocks are incredible, man. I want to get in Chipotle stock. Their stocks, I think, are the only ones that never split. Like one share is $2,500
Wow.
for one.
Wow.
I know, right? Yeah. Amazon split. Amazon before it split was like $4,000 for one. Yeah. But Amazon split like I think 16-1 or something crazy. It's like 100, 200. Like you can afford to buy Amazon now, but Chipotle is not split. Long story short, they got in trouble for food poisoning, so now they have this group called Echo Shore that comes to randomly pops up at Chipotle and will audit them on the spot, right? And they can shut down the store if it's dirty because of that contamination that occurred. So that almost cost Chipotle essentially their reputation, because they got out in the open and they found poisoning and E. coli, and it was found in this store and nobody was really doing anything about it. So Chipotle is like, you can trust this and we're going to do this to make sure things are safe, they're compliance. And you get the reports, and Chipotle shares his reports with the senior management. And if your store isn't up to par, then the person, the GM responsible for that store, can get in trouble. So that's a way they can do compliance, reporting, and monitoring. Data protection. So we talked about this on Monday. Data at rest, data in transit, data in use. All right? That was a Monday topic.
That's
We
right.
got AES at rest. We got motion TLS, SSH. I erased all that stuff yesterday. IPsec and in use. We got screen protectors with something called data masking, encrypts data in real time. Data protection methods. So here to talk about different methods in which we can protect data. Restricting data based on location. We talked about this with geolocation, somewhere you are in the world. Encrypting data, hashing data, masking it. I've just talked about masking. All this stuff's reviewed as we get to the end of the book. Tokenization, that's encrypting my credit card information. Obfuscation, making data harder to read. Segmentation, logically or physically segmenting where that data is stored in the organization. So we talk about air gapping, we talk about VLANs, permission restriction, we talk about role-based, technical control types. We talk about attribute-based access control. Henry, what attributes is your next victim going to have? Right? Attribute-based. So all ways we can grant access to data. We talked about DLP already, right? As we get toward the end of the book, like I said, review. Data loss prevention is ways in which your USB thumb drive is going to be disabled at port on your computer. What if I try to send information out of the organization via an email with PII? On 485, we could send an alert to the admin saying, hey, Ricky's trying to send PII from his corporate email. Just an alert, somebody's going to pay a visit to your desk. Or we could block it, alert and block your email from leaving. Or we can quarantine it. We could put it in a safe place where we inspect it and we look to see what were you sending. Or we could tombstone. We basically strip that file, replace it with another file with a message saying, please come see IT. We need to speak with you immediately.
Remove your credentials. force you to come see them. That's what they do.
Gosh, thank
That's
you.
what they do?
Remove your credentials.
Oh,
You
really?
don't have to go to the IT department.
Oh, that's Tombstone.
Yeah, and they be like, well, you be like, my car's not working anymore. And they be like, yeah, you did X, Y, and Z.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
But did they give it back or
They give you
they just reprimand
it's
you?
like counseling,
Oh,
reprimanding,
okay.
and all that stuff.
Okay.
They call it JPSR. Like, too many
More acronyms. I already got too many to memorize in my head.
It's a strong write up. It's bad.
Strong, oh, it is.
It's bad. It
Oh.
goes on your record. You get too many JPSRs, you fire.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they write a JPSR on you. They make a big deal, call your manager and everything. Recommend your manager for not informing you. So they basically, hey, you need to do your job and inform your people that they can't do X, Y, and Z. And then send your manager back, and your manager gonna be like, yo, don't have them come in there talking to me like that. Yeah,
And then the manager gets mad.
now you're not a manager mad at you. Now the
Jeez.
next day they're gonna have a meeting in the morning about X, Y, and so it's like more work. So we're gonna really roll down.
We don't want to do that again. And make it real. You don't want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Acceptable use policy, we talked about that on Monday again. Code of conduct. Let's see what this term talks about here in the book. Which I kind of already know what it's talking about, right? How we conduct ourselves, obviously. Rules of behavior sets out expected professional standards. Employees use social media and file sharing poses a substantial risk to the organization, including threat of viruses. This is why we block social media. Users should be aware that any data communication, email made through the organization's computer are likely to be stored in the system, backwards device, and so on. Such communications are also likely to be logged and monitored. I always say, if you don't know anything in this class, know that everything you do at work is being tracked, it's being monitored. So, what's the word they call them? Mission values. I'm trying to think of the word. We have a mission statement for the corporation, and we have core values of the company. Something to that effect.
Implied values and active values. Talk about
Right.
those.
So sometimes you'll see somebody gets fired for posting something on their social media that goes against the values of the
Right.
corporation,
Yeah.
right? Or the code of conduct.
Mhm.
We don't hire people that are racist. We don't hire
Right.
people that are against the LGBT, XYZ
QRS
community.
TV, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Personally known devices. I mean, we've already talked about this. BYOD and Shadow IT. So
Yeah.
I'm not skipping anything. This is
We already
review.
talked about it.
Clean desk policy. I talked about that the first day of class. Talked about how we implemented lockers. It was high school because people were writing credit card numbers down and stealing people's information. All right. On the next page, I mentioned, and this whole page here on 490 is about training and awareness. I mentioned that we could put all the controls in place that we want in an organization, but nothing suffices for accurate training and education and awareness. So here they're talking about how can we test that the training and education was effective. That's what I do every morning is gamification. Where's gamification here? Should be, I just saw it. It's not in the book? Yeah, it is, right there. Computer-based training and gamification. Gamification is when you make training fun. Cahoots. It's a game,
Yeah.
right? So at the same time you're having fun and gaming, I'm actually testing, have you learned anything in this class, right? And as you miss questions, I'm educating you, training you, so you don't miss it the next time. So again, we have to have just some type of effective way to test is our training getting through to those individuals, right? And this is what they're talking about over here, right? What was the other word I was looking for that they took out the book? Not simulations, but it looks like they might have taken it out of the book. Oh, it's on the next page, phishing campaign. All right, anyway, we'll get to it in 1 second. I'll give you a real story on that. So here, critical elements for security awareness training. Well, we got to have documents. That's what policy handbooks are. A situation awareness. That's just training users against what social engineering. Insider threats. We can't trust people we work with. So we talk about this thing called zero trust. Verify first, then trust. Right? Password management. Again, password management, uppercase, lowercase, 8 characters in length, history, age, things of that nature. and removable media and cables. We don't want the risk of DLP, right? Data exfiltration. Social engineering is, again, the same thing as what they talked about with situational awareness, making it so that we know that people, we can't trust people, and we have to know how people try to befriend or trick people into doing things that they shouldn't do. That's what they talk about, the baiting. Operational security, promoting good security practices day to day. When it comes to making sure that your workstation is secure, you don't have any data up on the computer that people can see, and hybrid remote work environments. I can't really secure that, I'm sorry. But if I'm working remote VPN, that's the only thing I can do to make sure that if I am using corporation data, VPN first to make sure anything that's being sent on my computer is encrypted in the tunnel. But people can take pictures all day at home of corporate data. So in reality, it's harder to secure remote environments. So phishing campaigns, the story on that is I was at a base where they were all in class like this, they're getting trained on social engineering. Do not respond to emails that come from somebody outside of the environment to your .mil address. Right? Should not respond to it unless it's somebody internal. Very next day after class, they sent an email that said if you would like to sign up for basketball season starting, please fill out the information below, and if you're interested, right? Might have been some other things like it's free, and I'm like, shoot, I would have fell for that. They all fell for it, and they were all in class the next day, right? Because it was just more than a phishing campaign. It was see how many people open up this email and respond to basketball. Anomalous behavior, we talked about this. This is what is considered heuristic detection, or we had this word called user entity behavior analytics. I said that Ricky takes his laptop home. That's abnormal behavior. He normally does not do that. So these are things that deviate from the norm, are going to detect that he might be up to something fraudulent. Right? And there's software. We looked at risky user behavior. Right? Did I log into that and show you guys risky users? Okay. So I mentioned again. They mentioned security training and awareness in the next page. Right? Train, and the next page more. Right? And assessment quizzes to make sure that our training got through. That's what I do with gamification. That's what I do with the pop quiz and Kahoots. Right? I can train people all day, but if people aren't learning, then my training is therefore ineffective. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what I can do to make sure that people are retaining. Retaining is the exact word I was looking for. Thank you. As we end chapter 16. All right. So, like always, most of the time, the last chapter is always going to be that review chapter. And it's still last 601 the same, which is a review chapter. All right. So last but not least, before we go,
I had one question on the games. I want to go over that firewall one that you did yesterday. That's the only one I got a master.
We're going to go over it.
Okay.
We're going over all of them today.
Awesome.
But that's anything? Any questions before I go into this about anything?
Okay.
Cheers.
You talk about that Monday, you talk about it Friday. First thing you got here, last thing you're talking about. Stop talking about it.
I'm going to the hot tub right after this, man. Go to school.
If you're really serious about losing weight, the fastest way to lose weight is to go on an all fruit diet.
Oh!
I'll wait for watermelon season to come in.
Yeah, did you see Kelly Muscle? Watermelon?
Okay,
Okay, so that's
a bunch of weight.
fastest way is so I did that for a week. I lost almost 15 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Just eating. Not even working out, just eating. Just fruit. So I'd have like oranges, and I get full. I mean, eating is, sometimes we enjoy eating, right? But eating is really for us to live.
Not to eat.
Right? It's not for us.
Not to enjoy.
Yeah, that's what they talk about in the Bible, gluttony and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they always talk about anyhow our food is supposed to be our healing is the herbs of the earth, right? And half the stuff they've invented now didn't exist back in the
That's
days.
right. Yes,
People
sir.
lived so old, and now when people are dying so young, it's because of all these herbicides and pesticides and insecticides that are inside of our fruits and vegetables.
Yes, sir.
Organic is the way to go.
Mm.
But I have a whole book on that. I'm really deep into that and grounding. You heard of grounding?
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Okay. So
I'm
yeah,
from
you
country.
know,
So you
all
ready?
about that.
I
You
just
said
got
you're deep in that
grounded.
for real?
Huh?
You said you're deep in that?
I'm deep in that, yeah.
Well, tell me, but how do you get in? What's grounding? Because I'm interested in that. I'm trying to.
Grounding is when you become one with the earth, and you take your shoes off, and the sun, one of the best minerals in the world to heal us is the sun. But they keep us in buildings, they keep our cars, our roofs, everywhere we go, we don't get this sun, this vital nutrient that replenishes our cells.
Vitamin D.
Right? So I always get sun every day, right? Because that's why I say I got to go home and walk my dogs. That's
Yeah, that's
getting
smart right there.
and grounding is just put your feet on the grass. That's the electricity, the
Not with your
electrons, not with your shoes.
You gotta take your
So the
shoes off.
rubber.
Oh.
See all the stuff that
Rubber
you see all the
is
stuff
what's
that
called the
that
blockage.
blocks
Huh.
it. You see all the stuff that they
Yeah.
do to kill us,
Wow.
to make us not live as long. That's what Bill Gates wants to depopularize people, but
Wow.
we're depopularizing ourselves with stuff. They actually make shoes
You
that
release the
are
negative
grounding.
ions that's in your body.
Yeah,
That's
the
why I'm
ions.
so depressed all the time
Yeah.
because they have that buildup. And even hugging trees.
Hugging trees, yeah.
Also,
I know, it
it
sounds
makes
stupid.
you
It sounds stupid, right? See, but I'm with that.
It also it releases the chemicals in your body that makes you happy. It just absorbs all that negative stuff that's inside
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
gonna try.
You don't know about that stuff?
Okay. I gotta try, man. I promise I'll try.
So you gave me.
You got a book? Anybody has
Yes,
a book?
I'm about to give you a book.
Oh, okay.
You gave me a book, so I'm gonna give you a book. It's
Oh,
called,
okay.
Vegetation over education. Vegetation?
That sounds alright.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I have heard
Dr.
of
Bobby?
education.
Okay. Vegetation over education. Yeah, I have it. I think it's in my office, actually.
Oh, you have an education. I got one of education with medication.
Vegetation.
Yeah, the PDF. Okay, I see it.
Education over medication.
Yeah.
Dr. Bobby Price is a black guy. He
Okay.
wrote the book. He's got a whole YouTube channel like too.
Oh,
He's
thank
got
you.
a farm and he
Okay.
grows all this fruit.
Yeah, that's
And I've
what
tried
I
a lot
wanna
of
do.
crazy fruit that I've never
I
tried.
want
I've tried a
a
dragon
homestead.
fruit before.
I want a homestead so bad, like buy
Oh,
a
yeah?
whole bunch of land,
Yeah.
build my own house, and
Yeah, grow your own.
grow my own fruits. And
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I'm from Oklahoma. I got.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going back home to the land, like flat land.
I wish I could teach a class on that.
Oh,
Literally.
man, I feel
this is fascinating. Sometimes I have a student like Ricky that understands, and some students just look at me crazy. And I'm like grounding. They're like, all right, what is
That's
that?
why I go home. I always walk around barefooted, like, cause you don't get looked at when you're in the country. Nobody
Yeah.
look at you cause weird walk around
I
barefooted.
guess I need to work on that, bro.
You don't see me in the yard talking to people, you just barefooted. And then,
Yeah, I don't wear shoes. I have slippers or socks.
Okay.
But when I'm like on a beach, I'm not walking around with beach shoes.
True.
I mean,
This
obviously.
Oh, it's
One
black
dude
guy,
did a
Bobby
study.
Price, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
One dude did a
Bobby
study. He ran a copper wire from the ground. He put it in the ground, and then he put it onto his bed.
I'm gonna
So he was
research this
grounding
guy.
while he was sleeping at night. And he was like, that was the best night of sleep that he ever had in his life.
Really?
Running this
That's-
type of copper wire from the
Where did
put it
you
in the
see
ground.
that?
I don't know. I watched it on YouTube.
I was on YouTube.
Mhm.
Okay.
But he did a whole study.
Yeah.
And he basically put this wire, he grounded it in the ground, he ran it to his bed, and he did study how his body temperature and all the energy throughout the body. And he was like, that was like the best sleep that he has ever had in his life. So he said he continued like to ground while he's sleeping at night.
Wow.
Like, it's just so,
That's sweet, man.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna use these techniques. I appreciate you.
I'm gonna try the all fruit diet. I've been thinking about it, but
I'm moving
Yeah,
this book.
so it's hard, right? Anytime you make a change, I can't tell somebody cold quit smoking, right? Something like that. And I can't tell you cold quit, stop eating what you eat. But you can cut down. Yeah, I know. I mean, true. I mean, when I did the all fruit diet that week, I did very well. I didn't cheat. I had like a Thai salad. I forget. It's like papaya salad. What's it? Papaya Thai salad?
I know papaya inside. That's not
I
cheating.
think it's papaya. I think it's called a papaya salad. Yeah, it's not cheating. It's still vegetables.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
yeah,
not
it wasn't
cheating.
cheating, but it was getting away from the fruit. It was
Okay.
vegetables.
Okay.
But it wasn't like I was going back and eating. And that's another thing about meat that they talk about. I don't know if you know about that, where there's a study on how when they kill pigs, they're in this terror state, right? And the enzymes that they release, we eat those enzymes. So we get some of the terror, right, and the fear and some of these pigs are squealing and crying right before they get butchered. They know they're about to die. They're crying on the way there. And we ingest that fear and all those chemicals when we eat. That's why the Muslims don't eat the pork, right? But that's with any meat product, red meat, chicken, and stuff like that. So I've really been cutting down on meats too, especially processed meat. I won't even do that sandwich meat and stuff anymore.
What about your kids?
Oh, my kids eat what I bring into the house.
And the
So
doctors don't
it's
get
my
mad.
fault
The
that
doctors
they're
don't get.
unhealthy, right?
Okay.
So I can control that. When you see a kid that's fat, it's not the kid's fault, it's the parent's fault.
Yeah.
The parent's buying them McDonald's every day,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, my kid's a kid. I'm going to let him be a kid like I was. But I grew up, my mom's a nurse, so I grew up eating healthy,
I got you.
right? So I know what it is to eat healthy.
it is.
I'm Jamaican. So
Okay.
I'm eating all the fruit, plantains,
Okay.
and ackee, and saltfish. Fish is actually good.
What part of Jamaica? My
Kingston.
girlfriend's from Jamaica. She from Kingston too.
Yeah, my mom's from Kingston.
Okay. Yeah, she does.
So
She does that.
We have vegetables every day, and
Okay.
I talked to one person that I'm friends with. She was telling me she doesn't poop every day. She said she poops like once every 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And she thought it was normal. But
That's
that's,
not
how
A
she
lot
was.
of girls say
That's
that.
how she
That's
was
not
raised.
normal.
A lot of girls say that for
Right.
some reason.
I was
That's
like,
bad.
that's not normal.
I'm
I
like, I
said,
go
That's
3
walking
times a
in
day.
cold
They be like,
cancer.
me
Me
too.
too.
3 times a day.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
a dog, man.
Right. Right.
What are you talking about? You
Right.
haven't food in like a week. Like, girl, you need to go get checked out.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
what's with you?
You right. That's what I told her. She's changed now. She told me last week she poops every day now. I'm like,
All right.
okay. Because that's normal.
That's saving your life. Yeah. Yeah.
You can die on that mess.
Yeah. Cancer. Oh yeah.
Cancer, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Health
Writing
is,
this down.
health is wealth, man.
There's
It's
a
like
tree
they
on the way
say.
home, man. You know what I'm saying? I might hug one of mine. Make you feel better.
I will not look at you weird. That's
Yeah.
He
it.
said hug it.
That's why I go to the country, because if I do it up here,
I know people look at it, what?
I be like just sitting at the tree.
It's just
like,
like, what?
I like, you know how you used to climb trees back in the day. It's the same thing, hugging the
Same
tree.
thing.
Yeah, that's true. I can do that.
Yeah, you
I'm
know.
practicing.
In the park set back at home, you
I'm practicing
climb
it
the
up.
tree.
Yeah, like I was
You
a
just
kid.
sitting in the tree playing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
I like that
They,
title.
they get the reason we talk about trees is because they're out there in the sun and they're absorbing all of those electrons.
That's amazing,
So you
yeah.
can get it faster from the trees. You can get it from grass too. But
Yeah, I'm gonna
if
do
you
the
on
grass thing and the shoe thing because you got a great point about walking with shoes on and not. Yeah, that's deep. That's
It's deep, isn't it?
yeah.
When you really think about it.
That's
That's the stuff. That's the stuff that I'm more interested in, like reality stuff.
I'm gonna post it on Instagram. Let my friends know on Instagram. I'm gonna make sure I put it on my
I
ground.
would be like, man, if we ever go to a post-apocalyptic type aspect,
Yeah,
I was like, man, I kind of hope, I ain't hopeful.
they got a new movie coming out about that.
I
Have
would
you seen it?
thrive. I would, you know, so information is king in that
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah.
And people know, like, we how to filter your water,
Yeah.
charcoal, like rock, sand.
There's a movie on YouTube right now,
You know what
song
I'm
about
saying?
it.
I even know how to turn salt water into drinking water from the ship. Basically, you boil the salt water, because you get steam, bring a pipe over and let the steam
Okay,
drip
I
down
got my
into a
friends
regular
know,
chamber.
education.
That's fresh water. So you got unlimited supply of water if you know how to convert salt water
stuff to
into
take.
fresh water. So I'm like, but I like that.
You going to the all fruit diet, huh? You just doing all fruits.
So, like I was saying, nobody can make a change like that. So what
Yeah.
I'll do is kind of almost like what Callie Likes does on YouTube, where I've implemented a lot more fruit in my diet. So I always eat fruit daily now. And sometimes for lunch, I'll just have fruit, like a smoothie. But
Okay.
it won't be a smoothie with like protein powders and stuff.
Oh, you'll do
protein powders
protein-
not
oh.
good. It'll be
Yeah,
like a
too
real
much.
smoothie.
That's why you had a heart attack from drinking that
Protein.
freaking C4 and all that
Yeah.
pre-workout, like without even
That's-
drinking water. He just, and
Yeah.
people were like, oh, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that's why he had a heart
He's
attack.
changed his life completely.
Yeah.
And now he's on the whole. He's friends with Dr. Bobby Price.
Wow.
That's why he talks about all the stuff that he
And
talks
that's good for
about.
Bobby Price, because it's to get more out there.
Yeah, he used to be a doctor that actually did what pharmaceuticals do and give medicine to fix things. But he ethically knew that was wrong because you're giving him medicines that harm them to do good. So he's doing his own practice now. That's what the whole book talks about.
We need a vet that get on that. Because as you know, you get medication from the VA?
No.
You get medication from
No,
they
I'm lucky,
give
thank God.
you
Thank God.
buku. I'm talking about like
Oh no,
patients be
my
having
soldiers had that. Yeah,
bags and bags
Yeah.
and bags. Like you think morphine and all
Ooh.
the oxycodone and all that stuff. You think that stuff is hard to get? Not as a veteran. They give it to you like candy.
Yeah, they gave it to us. They gave it to us over there. We got shot.
Cold, oxycodone,
Yeah.
Percocets. Like the patients be having like bottles of 96.
Pain management.
It's like, you know what I'm saying, have Percocet, Hydro, you know what I'm saying, because they had surgery and just have 96 pills, oxycodone. Then they wonder why the patients come back and they drugged out. Like they just feeding them medication. And then the patients come in and scream and holler, oh my goddamn, oxypro, you know what I'm saying? And they're okay, they go in the back, doctor type of order. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, 30 minutes later, he got fucking hiring whoever needs. So, you know, more, I don't know, I'm not great with it. What's got
Crazy.
It's just they dump, and then the psychotic medication, they be on that and they can't really even be here, so they psyched out. They ain't on. They got pain medication. Then they go out there and fucking get smoked out in there, and they smoking crack, and then you give them a check every month. That's like $5,000, so they ain't gonna do it. The whores and cocaine. That's a veteran. That's a veteran drug. Like they get that money. You know what I'm saying? All these little pretty young girls they see around here in Atlanta. When on the first of the month, they land up with some veteran. He done bought a whole bunch of cocaine. Cause they building them the cash. So she gonna steal money from him. She gonna be high. They gonna have sex that night. She gonna leave him. He gonna wake up broke. He gonna be at the VA.
Listen, man, boy, you got the whole story, huh, bro? You
That's
got
how
to all walk
It
down.
never changes. Wow. It never changes. That's the longer I stay there, the more it just get worse.
Keeps getting repeated, huh? It's over and over.
It's my fault. I know we better.
You good? Well, we should know this now, so I'm not going to help y'all.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
we got for SSID?
All right, that's going to be the same as the Windows controller. So that should be, what is it, Corp?
Yeah, I mean, these are going to be populated. So what
Yeah.
we have written in black is our pre-populated.
Right.
Username and password.
That's up top.
Yeah, so guest 01, guest pass.
Mm-hmm. PSK.
Password, you guys
we
figured
made
your
that.
passwords out yet? What's authentication type?
On that one, the one S for the wireless guest going to be enterprise, and for the controllers, the longer one.
The longer one, all right. What do we do? Anything else?
Oh, we had save on that.
Save. All right, so what do we have for shared key?
And that's going to come from the secret radius server, shared key secret.
AAA?
That's going to be IP address of the radius.
And this is the long one you already told me. IP here.
Yeah, that's going to be the IP address. So
All right,
I'm not-
That's you good, bro.
Authentication type?
The extremely long one.
No. This authentication radius?
Up top 1910.
No. This
No,
is a drop down.
That's Active Directory.
Active
Oh, yeah,
Directory.
my fault.
This one we dropped down.
I didn't know that.
Directory.
I didn't know that.
You're good. That's what we're here for. All right. So
This
we
is
got
what I want to work on
firewalls.
right here, yeah.
So the first rule we're looking at here, and we're only changing what they say. Deny clear text web traffic. So what is clear text web traffic?
Oh, beautiful. That's HTTP.
HTTP. And then here it says ensure secure management. So what's unsecure? Telnet.
Yeah, Telnet
What's
is
a secure?
versus
What's a secure one?
SSH.
SSH.
God,
And
that's
here, resolving issues at the DR sites. That means we're only going to look at firewall 3.
Okay.
So we go here. I scroll down. And we're looking at, I gotta zoom out here. We're looking at the first firewall.
Okay.
And we're gonna look only at two things. HTTP, we're gonna make sure it's denied, and we're looking at the management, and we're gonna make sure
SSH.
it says
Gotcha.
SSH.
And it's already permitted.
We're not
Gotcha.
changing anything else,
Right.
okay?
Gotcha.
And again, we're not doing this immediately either, okay?
Right.
We're
Wait.
taking our time. It's not a rush. Firewall 3, again, the only thing here that needs to be different is this. So yes, you will drop down. You will see a bunch of IPs in the drop down. Just make sure it matches this one. They all should look the same, just like this one. They all look the same. So this IP, if there's another 192, just make sure it matches this 192.
Okay.
IPs match. IPs.
Multiple sync packets are set from multiple sources.
That's the .NET.
Right.
And mitigate.
Enable
DDoS.
Attacker establishes connection and use remote commands.
Remote is red.
That's the
All right, and how we mitigate that?
Change default system password.
Nope. You need to go over this again.
Wait a second.
Did you you got, Henry? Go ahead.
Right.
So this says that we have connections that allow remote commands to be executed.
Oh, turn off the remote access.
Disable remote access.
Yeah.
Self-propagating. And how we mitigate against well-known credentials. Well-known credentials. That means I know your password. That's what that means, gang. I know your password. So if I know your password, what do I have to do?
Change the default.
Change password. Now it's not system
Oh, my fault.
because it's an application. So don't make that mistake.
So change default application.
Change the application password. What you can do for this, by the way, for practice, since you can't actually touch it, and I've told people this before, you can use a tool called Snippet in Windows.
Okay.
So hit Windows and type in Snip.
Okay.
It's built into Windows, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna hit the new option. I'm gonna basically copy it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Copy and then open up Paint. And then I paste it in Paint. Now I can take like a marker like this, right? And I can highlight
Yes.
what I want.
That's
So
beautiful.
I know this is bot. I'm gonna highlight bot. My pen.
Do that right now. Okay.
Highlight dot. There's a highlight option. The highlight option, I guess we could just use a box, but it doesn't really make a difference. And I'll make that a little bit smaller.
Copy that.
Right, bot, right, and then do enable DDoS protection. So I kind of go down like this, okay, and we were here, hidden access. How about this one? Attacker uses hardware to remotely monitor input.
Keylogger.
And so it's in here, highlight it, and I would mitigate against that.
You got those vulnerable services we have to turn off. Right?
Disable vulnerable services.
Yeah. Turn vulnerable
So
services.
this is one way I can practice. See what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
A hidden access, what is this?
Hidden access. Come on.
Backdoor there. And what I do to mitigate against that?
2FA authentication. So
You got that one. You got that one the hard there.
Yeah.
All right.
So you get all of them hard. Okay. Thank you.
We had one, I think it was 560. I might have it here still.
Okay,
Find
copy
it.
that.
At 599.
Okay.
So 599, we can do this one by scratch. What am I clicking and dragging this? And you can do the same thing, by the way. Snippet and Paint.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Bound copies. Private reports. Classify.
Corporate confidential.
There you
Corporate confidential. Copies of financial audit reports before exchange traded.
go. That's gonna be it's public.
Public.
So my
Yeah,
glasses,
because
my-
it
I
said
turned-
exchange.
changed
It said
my glasses.
exchange.
We're at the last part. We don't need to take notes right now. I know
Yeah.
it's very hard to see, especially I got the things open. I should close those.
Exchange, right? That's gonna be public because with the
Public,
exchanges,
yes.
public notice. Yeah.
Database containing driver's license.
That's gonna be.
Personal information.
Got it.
Identity information.
What about mechanical hard drive containing source code?
Mechanical.
Source code.
Oh, intellectual property.
Employee.
Employee records.
It's gonna be PII.
Yep. And paper-based records, medical.
PHI.
What are we doing with paper-based records?
Shred.
Well,
And what are we
shredding
doing with
physical.
employee SSD?
Social Security.
Employee SSD. How we
Oh
doing
yeah.
with that?
SSD.
That's gonna be the Gaussian multi-pass.
DDoS and multipass.
No, you can't DGAUZ an SSD, gang.
Oh, I can't. He always trapped me on that. I can think regular hard drive that has no working parts. You gotta destroy that.
Yes, you get destroyed.
Yes, have no
What
working
about
parts.
mechanical? Now we
Yeah.
can.
Now we get the
Alright.
gauze.
So that's the difference. Why would they be asking mechanical for SSD? Because there's a difference between
Yeah.
how we destroy it.
One is hard drive. One physical.
Driver's license with information that's reusable. Tape.
Multipass white.
And what about copies of financial reports? They're public on a flash drive.
Flash drive. You can multipass white. That is
Yeah.
one.
And bound copies of internal audit reports on a private company.
That's
Physical
shred.
destruction.
Physical destruction. Shredding copies.
All right, here we
What
go.
type of virus is going on here?
Where's that? Logic Bar.
Type of virus is going on here.
ANC remote. Internet service? Yeah.
Yeah, remote access. Clicking and dragging, what type of attack is happening on this tablet?
Let's go injection on that one.
And where are we clicking and dragging some of these controllers?
Okay, so input validation on a database.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, database, you're right. Code
Oh,
review,
okay.
Application
my bad.
source.
Application source, WAF,
That's on a web
Web
server,
server.
URL,
web server,
Website.
and record level.
CRM. Okay.
And then we got this one. We'll just do the top one, you guys can do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Accounting workstation, access the web server. So what rule are we looking at? Source, accounting,
Yeah, website that's 10.5.
912 can access the web server
Yeah, 10.5. Right there.
over HTTPS. What
HTTPS
port is that?
443.
It says can't access. That deny or
Well, that's going to be
Permit.
permit. That's
Permit.
permit.
alright. So we know all of them are going to be what protocol? What protocol are all of them?
TCP.
Except
The last.
The last
three or
one.
four.
what port number is this?
Last one, that's
The
nice.
dirty port.
69.
Alright. And this one by process elimination is the only one that's going to be there.
22.
22. Alright. Make sure you guys go over that one again.
Yeah.
I already did the wireless one. The only other one to add is the one I don't have pictures of, which is one that you're, I'd say 100% going to see, which is that antivirus one. It's a
Okay.
picture. So I just said memorize a picture.
Okay.
So what you're going to be doing on that is not just simply going when you get the picture and selecting the options. You're going to click on the server and you're going to read through the code.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what the code means, then you know what options to select in the picture. But make sure you know that one. I'm telling you it's going to be on there.
Gotcha. Well, that's.
So,
yeah,
and you wrote the number down yesterday in your notes, right?
Yeah.
What number was it? Do you have it on you?
my notes. I'll tell some notes. What was it at right now?
I know it's in 615 to 715.
Yeah.
It's the first night of homework.
Right, yeah, for Monday.
Let me pull it up.
I'm gonna pull my test up. Go through it real
So
quick.
it's after 6:30. I know that much.
Question 6:30. Okay, so I got it here.
This one. And I write it down again. 676. So go home tonight and memorize when you're clicking these dots. That's the best I can do.
Oh, you're
Right? Because there's a lot of info. When you click on these servers, there's a lot of code. I mean, like you literally have to scroll down. There's that much code.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you it's going to be on there. Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't be surprised when you see it. Okay.
All right,
I
sir.
got nothing else for you.
Oh man, thank you so much. Okay, so what do we do there?
Yeah, hit me on email.
So what do you fill out our document for your score, your ranking? You don't have a score, a net promoter score that we got to fill out, pay, on you. I
You talking
thought.
about your Val?
Yeah, evals, yeah.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Oh, okay. I know most of y'all got to get those evals. They got to get, That's so funny.
All right. I'm looking at not now.
Okay.
Are you guys on LinkedIn?
Yes.
You're on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, of course. Let me go on LinkedIn. I can just reach out to connect real quick.
I might be able to find you. Henry, what's your last name?
Howey. Yeah, I'm not the only one. I think this. Most people are IE. Our family changed it to EY. So
Is this you?
that's me.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna go here and unless your settings are set up to not accept contacts.
Oh no, you can contact me. I'm gonna. Yeah, you can.
I just have a follow. You got your
Oh,
settings
yeah.
turned off. Yeah.
Huh?
So you don't
know that.
allow anybody to connect with
I
you.
gotta go fix that. Let me do that right now.
Definitely. Definitely want
I
to
got-
fix
I am.
that. So
I
you
gotta
got
get-
you have to reach out to me, and
All right, so
not
I'm
easy-
looking at right now. So
I'm not
what
easy
you-
to find.
Yeah, tell me how y'all. What's your name?
Sean S-E-A-N. Mitchell.
Okay. Probably a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh,
easy
yeah,
to
that's-
find.
that's
I
AW
hide
Sean.
myself, so I don't think you're gonna find me.
I got a Sean Mitchell with an Earth. Which is your picture there?
Yeah,
Let's see. Out of the 10 show.
but I hide myself, so I don't know how you're gonna find me.
Some people find me still. I don't know how they do.
Let's go switch our results. And let's change it to first generation, second generation. People.
I can follow you. You got a lot of followers, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, there's technical education
anyway.
in Auburn.
You got LinkedIn?
I do. Ricky Shamp.
Service delivery manager. Senior
Who's he?
broker.
I don't have that.
Okay. I'll send you. Yeah, I'm not sure why yours is not allowed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do research on that. I'm looking at my menu here.
Oh, I see it. Just connect. I got it. Got it. It's
Oh.
not bad.
Okay.
I had to go into your profile a bit more.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so y'all hit me up when you pass. And I usually save the reviews after y'all pass.
Oh, okay.
Although my boss wants me to give it to y'all before you pass, in case you fail.
Yeah, that's what they always say, right?
But I'm like, boss, I'm certain on my teaching skills. I'll wait. Bishop, Blue.
Yep.
What was yours, Ricky?
Ricky Shamp.
Yeah.
Security protocol.
So I'm gonna stick around. I gotta fill out my expense report from last week. Turn that in, get a check, and then I'm gonna go to the gym. And then I'm heading home to walk my dogs.
Yeah, man.
Every Friday.
Thank you.
No, I sent you an info sheet. I gotta send you guys the eval.
Gotcha.
Everybody was okay with being able to register, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah. See how he said in the class earlier, he said when you go into an office and they go, Henry? And it's so true.
Wow.
Especially when they see me on LinkedIn. Most of my jobs come through LinkedIn. I get people just like pinging me and they're like, when they haven't seen my profile, they think I'm a white guy, you know. As soon as they think it's a big change. But I ain't afraid. I mean, most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid either. Now, only thing that we talk about in CISP is that if you do work for a cyber security company, then you want to have some type of anonymity when it comes to what you post on LinkedIn.
Gotcha.
So, like one of the guys that is a CISP like I am, his name's Tom. He used to have his first and last name on his profile and a nice picture of him smiling. But he is a pen tester.
Oh wow, that's one.
So
Okay.
he's
Red
basically
team too. Ooh.
He's erased everything.
I see.
No picture, no last name, no where he works at, no nothing.
He has to because he's a tester. Yeah.
He has to.
Yeah.
It's to show I'm secure.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to secure your environment, I got to be secure myself.
I guess I'm about to do that too. Huh. You know, change mine. Wow.
But yeah, yeah, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's good. I'm glad you guys have LinkedIn. I have the whole class where nobody in the class knows what LinkedIn is, but they all know Instagram.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
I'm gonna
When you all testing, do you guys have a date?
Yeah, I would say 2
Huh?
weeks.
I'm gonna do some. You gonna do it?
Yeah, I got 2 weeks. I got a event
Yeah,
on
2
this.
weeks?
Yeah, because unfortunately I got a conflict this Saturday and next Saturday, so the Saturday after.
That's fine.
I'm gonna do Sunday.
But I keep practicing so every day. Get that knocked out. But yeah, it's been a great class. I learned a lot of good stuff,
Yeah.
and I mean just excellent information you give. Besides the book, it adds to the complexity and kind of puts it in a layman's terms, you know.
That's what I try to do. In those times.
Yeah. So,
Anybody can read PowerPoint.
yeah.
But in the butt. But
Well, it's like they say, if you can teach somebody, you know it. I like that part. You know, you can teach others, you know it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people the best way to learn something is to teach them. That's why I got this job. I tell people I'll do it for a selfish reason. I'm not doing it to teach y'all. I'm doing it to teach myself.
And that's right.
Yeah, so I'll make sure I pass it to my other guys to come and take you. So I got a few guys that want to take security after me. So I'm saying, okay, I recommend him. I'll post him on LinkedIn and pass him out to my friends.
Over here. Over here.
Yeah.
Most of the time I will.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good at studying, so I'm still here. Well, how long can we stay here? Do we have to go, or is this
No.
your? Okay, good.
I'm gonna check down and take this to my office.
Okay.
I gotta set up a desktop in there. My expense, and I'm heading out.
Y'all, man, it's been nice meeting you. It's been nice working with
sir.
y'all. Man, follow me on LinkedIn, brother. He followed me, so
Okay.
we'll stay in contact.
Well,
Man.
I really appreciate it.
All right.
I'll let you know on Sunday.